Obviously, we're getting towards the end of a couple of the tournaments that are taking place at the moment. And as such, it means that we are getting into like the semi-final stage. As well as that, we're going to be finding out the final members for Blood and Guts. So plenty of things going on. I do have the image. So let's go to the graphic before we jump to the chat. I always like to run through the card first so that we're all on the same page. We know exactly what's happening. And so here is the graphic. So this is what we've got coming up tonight. And as I said, we're starting to get to the semi-final stage. You can see that the Blind Eliminator Tag Tournament is at the semi-final stage. We've got MJF and Adam Cole taking on Brian Cage and Big Bill. We've also got Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin taking on Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia. I think it's going to be really interesting as to what the final is going to look like. I would guess MJF and Adam Cole are going to make it. And then I would guess Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin would make it. But that's just a guess. I don't see Big Bill and Brian Cage making it. Sammy and Danny could, though. Daniel Garcia could. But I'm going to go with MJF, Adam Cole, Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin. Those are four massive names that AEW have really got behind. So they kind of make sense as to why they would put them in the final. But we'll have to wait and see. So semi-final coming up tonight. As well as that, we've got the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament semi-final. This is Ruby Soho taking on Skye Blue. I actually don't know. It doesn't say who the other people in the other semi-final are, so I'd have to look into that. Without knowing the other semi-final, it's hard to say. Both of these women have been invested in recently. Both of these women are getting a bit of a push. Obviously, Ruby is in the Outcast group, which has been getting plenty of TV time. And Skye Blue is someone that we've really seen kind of grabbing attention. She's been getting more and more screen time on Dynamite. So that one feels quite close, actually. That one feels like they could go either way. Next up, we got Swerve Strickland against Nick Wayne. Nick Wayne is getting quite a bit of buzz. I actually don't know anything about Nick Wayne. I don't know where this buzz has come from. I don't know if he's been on Dark, Elevation, Rampage, Collision. I don't feel like I've seen... I mean, I'm sure I must have seen him before, but I can't recall seeing him before. But just looking on like AEW Twitter fan accounts, there's a lot of buzz around him. There's a lot of excitement around him. People asking, like, where's his ceiling going to be? This guy seems to have really caught attention. So I'm actually really looking forward to that. I mean, I like Swerve. I've said I like Swerve and Keith Lee as a tag team. I wish they would keep them together. I think it's a shame that they got eliminated because I love them as a team. Well, Swerve, I like as a talent. Him against Nick Wayne and the buzz I'm seeing around Nick Wayne makes me quite invested in that match. So I'm down for that match. I'm down for Ruby Soho against Skye Blue. I like both of those. Semi-finals, I mean, again, I like the fact that this match has got some, or those matches have got some riding on it. So that's going to make them more intriguing. I'm down for that. Komander against Chris Jericho. I've no idea where that's come from. And to be honest, that one out of all of them is the one that grabs me the least, which is quite ironic because it looks like it's the biggest match. What with it being bigger, front, center. Like they've really gone quite big on that one. So don't know. I don't know why. I mean, I'm not aware of there being anything there. Obviously, we know that there's been an attempt, let's word it that way, for Don Callis to try and recruit Chris Jericho. So that's quite interesting. I would imagine we're going to see Don Callis again, Chris Jericho walking away, giving a maybe about joining the Don Callis family. He said maybe and he walked off. So I'd imagine we'll get another tease there. But in regards to this as a match, it doesn't really do much for me. I don't know where it's come from. And then the other thing is we've got Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite reveal their 5th men for Blood and Guts. That could be interesting. I, again, don't have any names in mind as to who that could be. I mean, Kota Ibushi is the name that always floats around when it comes to Kenny and mystery partners and all stuff like that. In regards to the Blackpool Combat Club, honestly, I really don't know. I really don't know. I mean, if could it be Eddie Kingston again? Maybe. Could Eddie Kingston want to, like, he's got that bromance with John Moxley. So could we, and we have now brought him back, could it be that we get Eddie Kingston on the Blackpool Combat Club? He's a good fit for that group, in all fairness. So that's just a couple of names that I'm thinking of there. So yeah, again, sometimes I'm honest to the point where I can upset people, but honestly, this card looks all right to me. It's not the most stacked cards normally, and actually since Collision has started, we have started to see these cards just show a few less matches. They're not as stacked as they used to be, because I think Collision has kind of took some of that. It's kind of took away some of that, like some of those matches. They now play out on Collision. Before, we used to get like good 8-9 announcements. Now we're getting like 6 to 7. Which isn't bad. It's not a drastic drop-off, but those graphics aren't quite as cluttered as what we had seen before. But yeah, as I said, it looks pretty decent tonight. And yeah, hopefully we just get a really fun night of wrestling. Some stuff that we can watch and enjoy. I'm hearing good stuff about Collision. I would love to see Dynamite become a bit more Collision-esque. Don't know if that's something that we will see, or if they're quite happy with the numbers and they're just going to keep doing Dynamite the way we've been doing it. But a lot of people are saying that Collision seems like it is a tighter show, a more sports-orientated show, just a better show, to be honest. So, but, it's not on my radar, Collision. I never get a chance to watch it because it's on a Saturday. So, at the moment, we are just on board with Dynamite. But let's see. This one looks like it's going to be okay. Alfie, shout out to you, my friend. Said, all I can say is thanks for doing all you do. Alfie, shout out to you, buds. As I said, I hope the job's going well. It's nice to see you around, popping in, sharing your thoughts, buds. But Collision's last episode was really good, says Mitchell. Eric said, I'm going to Slammiversary on Saturday. Never been to an Impact show before. Have a great time. Miguel said, did Ruby cheat last week? Oh, God. I honestly can't remember. I mean, was it last week where she managed to get past Britt Baker? Because I seem to recall there being some outside interference, and I seem to recall it not being 100% clean. Was that last week? Was that a week ago where Britt Baker was in it? I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah. So now that sets up her match with Skye Blue. LS Dub says Collision is great. Alfie said it's pretty good, just tiring. I will be here though. Yeah, I understand that. There's pray for my sciatica. Sciatica. Retribution, shout out to you. I don't know what sciatica is, to be honest, but hopefully it settles down for you, bud. Ahmad, shout out to you. I hope you are well. Is this show taped? I don't believe so. I believe it's live tonight. I think we are live tonight. Blazed Radio said, I keep seeing Chris Hero and Ibushi as the two names being mentioned for Blood and Guts. That's interesting. I haven't heard about Chris Hero. Ibushi has been referenced quite a few times. I've seen his name mentioned quite a bit. So, but that's interesting about Chris Hero. I really like Chris Hero. Chris Hero, is one of those performers that really loves wrestling. I know that a lot of people do when they're into wrestling. But there's quite a few people that get released, say, from WWE, and then they don't keep it up. They just go to something else, Whereas Chris Hero, I mean, he's constantly tweeting out about wrestling moves, and constantly tweeting out about different holds and all this kind of. I haven't actually seen his account in a little while, but going back, say, a year or two ago, He was one of the best people to follow on social media because, like, you could learn loads from, like, different grips that he would talk about and different wrestling holds and everything. And he just loves it. He absolutely loves it. I've got a lot of time for Chris Hero. I think it's a real shame what happened with him in NXT because when I first started watching NXT, I kind of I didn't have any way of watching it before the network came along. Or maybe there was if I'd have gone to, say, watch wrestling or something, but I was not aware of that. And so I wasn't aware of watch wrestling. It wasn't something that was on my radar. And so the UK was late getting the network. I think in America, the network came along around about WrestleMania 30. I seem to remember WrestleMania 30 being very significant for the network. Whereas in the UK, it was much, much later. I think it was like 6 months, maybe 8 months later. And I remember when I was tuning in, like you kind of join in things more than halfway through. Like there'd been years of content, which I had to go back and try and catch up on. And I remember Cassius Ono being a massive deal. Like he'd even had matches with William Regal in NXT. Like William Regal had matches, and Cassius Ono was someone that was causing a bit of bother. And you looked at him as being, I suppose, in a way, like Bron Breakker right now. He never actually made it to the NXT title, which is a bit of a surprise. But Cassius Ono was like a bit of a troublemaker. He was, like how Bron Breakker's been causing a bit of bother, storming out of Shawn Michaels' office. He's kind of not the champ anymore, so he's just causing a bit of trouble. Cassius Ono was doing that. That was Chris Hero. And I remember watching him thinking, oh, this guy's got something about him. This guy feels like he's going to go on to become a big thing. Never got out of NXT. I mean, it's stunning. Never got out of NXT. I think he ended up getting released. And then when he came back, he seemed to have put on a significant amount of weight. I think his weight is something that he struggles with because I remember him coming back and he was big. He'd really put on like a lot of weight compared to what I remember him being. Maybe if I went back and looked at him when I first saw him, he would be maybe not that, maybe he would be big and I just remembered it wrong. But I don't think so. I seem to remember him being relatively slender. And then when he came back, he was big. And I think that was just another barrier, to be honest. We know that in WWE, they don't like their guys to have too much meat. They prefer it to be muscle rather than fat. And I think he'd just put a bit of weight on. I'm certainly not fat shaming or anything. If anything, I'm saying it's a great shame that he didn't make it. I really thought he was going to make it, and I really enjoyed Chris Hero. I know he's been massive on the indie circuit, but that's just not a circuit that I get to watch or have time to watch. So my real only exposure to him has been in NXT when he was Cassius Ono. But I think he came back and then... There we go, it's better. Just add a little lag. That would make a great video. People that should have made it to the main roster that were in NXT that never made it out of NXT. He might be the number one, to be honest. Or, well, maybe Adam Cole would be the number one, because Adam Cole never made it to the main roster. That was through his choice. But, Adam Cole never made it. Undisputed Era never made it to the main roster, obviously, as a group. But I think Cassius Ono would definitely be on that list. That is a really good idea, actually, thinking about it. I wonder if anyone's ever done that. Like, top 5 people or top 5 entities, factions, tag teams that were amazing in NXT that should have made it on the main roster. I'm going to write that down. I like that idea. See, this is like that when you just talk and talk and talk, you kind of get to like a never-ending stream of consciousness. You kind of get somewhere eventually. So, top NXT to not make main roster. I like that. That's good. Probably won't make that video, but it's just, worth jotting down. Right, let's go up. We have got Mitchell, shout out to you, said, Days, what is your favorite part about AEW? What do you think AEW does better than WWE? if you had to choose who would be your favorite AEW wrestler, three-parter. Mitchell, shout out to you. Jim says Collision's opening has a Saturday night main event feel. Ooh, down for that. Love a bit of Saturday night's main event. Right, so Mitchell says favorite part about AEW. Favorite part about AEW would be the in-ring action. I don't think their stories are very good. Sometimes they can have some good stories, but by and large, there's nothing that's like Bloodline, for example, right? So I couldn't say the stories. I think their production has improved since this new production person came in. I think before it felt a little bit rough and ready in places. I think, though, that was maybe part of its charm as well, because I think that part of the early success of AEW was really people just wanting to support Kenny and the Bucks and the Elite, and there was a lot of love for these guys that were doing such great work in Japan. And they obviously had the option of signing for WWE, but they decided to start their own company. And there was a lot of goodwill, a lot of support. And so if things were, if camera angles weren't quite right, or editing wasn't quite right, or the graphics weren't quite right, or, things weren't quite right. And, that showed itself in things like, say, the exploding barbed wire match that, the ending of that wasn't quite right. There was little moments that's like that where things just went a little awry maybe sometimes. But you could maybe make the argument that if you was a hater, then you would find stuff to easily hate on. But if you was someone that really wanted to support the Elite, then you would just, I think, overlook that stuff and be like, come on, lads, come on, boys. Like, you can do this kind of a thing. I would say that we've sort of moved away from that now, because now I would say AEW feels bigger than just the Elite. If the Elite were to go, if the Young Bucks and the Hangman and Kenny was to go, AEW would continue and it would survive, because I think that there is enough about it now with, say, Jericho, with CM Punk, with MJF in particular, Britt Baker, there's Jamie Hayter, of course. Soraya is there with the Outcasts, which I know doesn't really float many people's boats. But, it'll do a little something. I think Tony Storm's been good. Let's put it that way. There's enough about it whereby, and you've got talent that's coming through as well. I think that, it wouldn't be that it would just all collapse and fall apart. It would certainly go through a period of turbulence, as I think fans would really have to decide whether they wanted to continue to support this company, if the values of the company are in line with their values. I think that would be really interesting. What would happen if the Elite left All Elite Wrestling? Would it all collapse? My feeling is no. My feeling is that this company now that we're 4 years in, has kind of not outgrown them, but would survive losing them. Let's put it that way. Just like how it survived losing Cody. Cody went and everything was fine. Didn't skip a beat. Didn't blink. Wasn't a problem, right? Might be a problem if all of them leave at the same time, of course. If you lose Hangman, Bucks, and Kenny all in one go. But if they were to just gradually leave when their contracts came up, I think it would be fine. But yeah, I would have to say that the in-ring, if we talk about some of the matches, I think every year when we're talking about the best matches of the year, you will tend to mention an AEW match that caught your attention. I remember the Hangman and Kenny Omega match against the Young Bucks. I want to say from 2012, but I could be wrong. 2020, could be 2021. But that match, I just remember being, I just loved it. I just thought it was absolutely brilliant. Their tag matches actually are just brilliant, because I would say that Keith Lee and Swerve against the Acclaimed is also one of my absolute favorite matches. Like, I would absolutely put that up there as well. I know for a lot of people, they'll go, say, MJF, Bryan Danielson, or they might go Danielson, Kenny Omega, or matches like that. There have been some great singles matches as well, but whenever I think about my favorite AEW matches, they do tend to be the tag matches, to be honest. Not the Bucks, but FTR or the Acclaimed, or as I said, like Swerve and Keith, I was a big fan of. So yeah, I would go with the matches as being my favorite thing. What do you think they do better than WWE? I would say would be the match quality. I think that the match quality is higher overall in AEW than it is in WWE. I think WWE are not so worried about putting on 5-star matches as what AEW are. It really feels like a lot of the superstars in AEW have got freedom to go out there and try to get 5-star matches, right? Be it on the TV show or be it at the pay-per-view or wherever, like go out there, get a 5-star match. I sort of feel that with WWE, the stories and the promos and all of that takes not precedent, but that carries a lot of the weight of the show is the backstage segments, the story, the crowd interaction, things like the crowd singing Seth's song is a big part of the show. The crowd booing Dominic out of the building is a big part of the show. The bloodline story starting, going back to Roman's locker room, ending with whatever it ends with, that story that's weaved throughout is a big part of the show. Same with Judgment Day on Raw is a big part of the show. It sort of feels like that is as big, if not bigger, than the matches themselves. And one of the criticisms that you see about WWE is people saying there's not been much wrestling this week. You will tend to get, say, on Raw, like a decent match, but I don't know that you will get a, oh my God, this is awesome match on Raw on a regular basis. You can have like a fun main event, multi-person, lots of spots, that kind of a thing. But an actual, like, proper banger, a proper match that we talk about at the end of the year, I would say probably not as often as what you get in AEW. So this is what hardcore AEW fans would throw at WWE is, your matches suck compared to ours. And hardcore WWE fans would throw back at AEW, your stories suck. And obviously check your ratings as well. So, like, this is where that online war is kind of being argued. So I don't think there's really much in the way of controversy in saying that the weekly TV show matches, I think you are probably going to find something on Dynamite or Collision, whereas you might struggle when you're looking at Raw. There's no guarantee you're going to find a banger on Raw. SmackDown, maybe might have a bit of a better shot at getting something out of SmackDown, but it's just not the focus. It isn't the focus. Like, I don't believe WWE are trying to do it. Right? It's hard to like have a go at WWE for not having banging matches on Raw or SmackDown when I genuinely don't think they're trying to have banging matches. I think like the first match that opens the show tends to get given a bit of time, and the last match tends to get given a bit of time. And normally those two matches will be pretty good. They'll be all right. They'll be decent, right? They'll be all right. Like, you go, yeah, that was okay. That's how I feel anyway. Like the opening match, Ricochet versus Nakamura or something. You go, yeah, that was all right. Or the main event, will be whatever it is. And you go, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that was good. Yeah. But it's not that, oh my God, this is insane. It's not that. But you do get that a bit more now on the pay-per-views with WWE. I think when you get to the pay-per-views, that's where I would expect Roman tends to deliver. I mean, Roman's matches on pay-per-views this year have been fantastic. Him against Sammy in Montreal, him against Cody. I think for many people, his match against Cody was on its way to 5 stars. And then the ending kind of let it all down. But I think, like, his match with the Usos at Money in the Bank, I didn't see what Meltzer scored it, but I thought it was excellent. I thought it was really, really good. And then, of course, you got Gunther doing what Gunther does as well. The women have been killing it. You think back to Rhea and Charlotte at WrestleMania, which I thought was excellent. So it's not that WWE don't have great matches. That's not what we're saying. We're just saying that on the TV show side of things, I would say that you probably stand a better chance of seeing something that's going to really get you going on Dynamite rather than on Raw or SmackDown. But I just don't think that's the focus. I think they save their juicy matches for certain episodes, certain main events, and certain pay-per-views. The pay-per-views, the premium live events, they really push the boat out there as well. So I suppose it's just a different way of doing it, really. And if you had to choose, who is your favorite AEW wrestler? I mean, I really enjoy. I might be controversial, but I actually enjoy watching Kenny Omega more than Bryan Danielson. I think that Kenny Omega, when he's having a singles match, might be my favorite person to watch. I enjoy Keith Lee and Swerve as a tag team. Individually, not as much. I don't know what it is when they're together. Like, they just keep having great matches. Love FTR, of course. Love Jamie Hayter. Love how she throws it in. There's something... I always think, like, with wrestling, this is where Anna Jay is atrocious, right? When I'm watching wrestling, I want to feel like I'm watching a proper contest. And I think this is where Jon Moxley gets a lot of love, right? But for me, the standing in the ring, throwing forearms back and forth does not do it for me, right? Doesn't do it for me. Even standing, throwing chops back and forth, like, doesn't do it for me. But I like to see people that are going about their work and really putting it in, and it looks and feels like you're watching something that matters, right? If I'm going to give you my time, I want to watch something that matters. I want this to matter. And so, like, seeing people, like, really throwing it in, seeing, like, a proper contest, a proper battle, that's what I look for. That's what I enjoy. And I feel like I get that with Jamie Hayter in the women's division. Kenny is maybe not quite like that. He's a little bit more technical, a little less brawling. I would say that Moxley is too brawling. I think he actually crosses that line where it's blood all the time. It's blood all the time. I think his strikes and his shots look pretty weak. There's just a few things about Moxley where he should be in that Gunther box. He should be ticking that box for me. Everything about Moxley should massively appeal to what I like in wrestling, which is people laying it in. I don't want the hardcore stuff with, and this is where he goes too far as well, glass and pizza cutters and all this. And that's not what I look for. This, to me, is a sport where two people are battling to prove they are the best. They are the best professional wrestlers. Going into, like, the hardcore territories with glass and light in tubes and barbed wire and all that kind of stuff. There's a market for that. Right? And even I can go there, but it would need to be like a feud that had been running for years, that was just, you couldn't separate them, and we've got to agree to a death match. It's the only way to settle this feuds, right? I'm talking super, super rare occasions that I would be willing to go that far. Other than that, like, for me, it's a battle of two people trying to prove they are the best at this. And so for me, this is where Moxley crosses that line and goes too far. Compared to, like, say, a Gunther, who, you don't see Gunther with barbed wire, and you don't see Gunther, like, bleeding every single time he has a match. But he still throws it in, still looks brutal. Look at Ilya Dragunov as well. Dragunov doesn't need barbed wire. Dragunov doesn't need pizza cutters. But Dragunov, you want to talk intensity? Just as intense. I would say borderline even more intense, but I don't even know if that's possible, than Jon Moxley. Like, Ilya Dragunov, just love him. Love him, love him, love him. He is just what you watch a Dragunov match and you are watching someone give everything to secure that win. And I really respect that. And I know many people will say, yeah, well, that's what Moxley does. But as I said, for me, there's a line. I think Moxley goes over that line. But with Jamie Hayter, I think she is great. And I think she stays the right side of that line. And so I would say that there's a few. I would go with Kenny as being someone that I think, maybe more because of what he did in Japan, if I'm being honest. His match with Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom was so much better than his match at Forbidden Door for me. If you've never seen it, find a way of watching it, right? Because it's great. It's a great match. I enjoyed the one at Forbidden Door, but I just thought the Don Callis stuff at the end was a real, it's kind of like you spend a match pumping up the tire, right? And you're pumping up the tire, pumping. And then at the end, someone comes along, just lets the air out, just lets all the air out. And so all you're left with is a bit of a deflated tire, right? So it's really hard to go, oh my God, that match was mind blowing, when I just thought the end really was sucked. So yeah, but I think Kenny is definitely someone that I've seen have great matches in AEW. I'll never forget his matches with Okada in New Japan. I know what he can do. I know the storytelling that he can be a part of. And I would say probably him for the guys. I would say maybe the Acclaimed. They feel like they've just settled down a little, though. FTR, they're on Collision, aren't they? That means I might never see them again, unfortunately. And I hope Jamie Hayter doesn't go to Collision, because when she comes back, as I said, she's going to be someone that I'm hoping to see regular on Dynamite. But, yeah, look, there are positives in AEW. I know that we talk a lot about the negatives. I think it feels like they're just in a little lull at the moment. I think the Wembley thing is massive for them, because that really is something that you can point at and go, well, that's a big success. And I think the hope is that we'll build to that show, do that show. It'll give them a load of momentum. You go straight into All Out, All In, go straight into All Out. And honestly, by the time, it's going to be really interesting once we've done All In at Wembley and we've done All Out as well. What's the TV ratings then? What has the company been able to do? Will it have grabbed people's attention because of how big those shows were? Is that going to give them the momentum that they need to, really get the ball rolling? Because you would say they've probably got a lot of pieces in place now for the foundations. They're probably in quite a good place. So they've got all these pieces in place. But it's a case now of, can they get people to come and check it out? Those lapsed fans that maybe have checked out Dynamite and not really for me. Can they get them back to check out Collision? Can they get people back now that CM Punk's back? Can they get people back if they're about to bring in Mercedes? It's going to be really interesting once we've done Wembley and we've done All Out, where we are after that. Because, Wembley is the big thing you would point at the moment to go, yeah, look, that's happening. That's on the horizon. Things are looking good. But once that's out the way, what's the next thing that you can point at? So I don't think they'll be able to do Wembley again. I don't think they will. I would be very surprised if they would be able to sell this amount of tickets having already been over once. Because I do think a large part of the appeal is being able to see these stars for the first time. In a way, it's a bit like when they very first started in 2019, Dynamite getting 1.4 million, and them not struggling when they were going to different places to sell tickets because people wanted to see these people live. Well, they've never been to Europe. So this, in many ways, is kind of like them starting in Europe. So people want to see Sting maybe before he retires. People want to see CM Punk. We haven't seen CM Punk in... I don't know. Probably since 2013. It's probably been 10 years or so since we've seen CM Punk over here. I'm guessing the last time we would have seen him would have been with WWE. He left in Royal Rumble time, right? So in 2014. So that means that they normally do a tour in April and they normally do a tour in October, November, where they come over here. And so, and I'm guessing that it would have been 2013. It would have been one of those tours. Would have been the last time he would have been over, like, competing. Not aware of him doing any indie dates whilst he was away or anything. I know he did do a few things where he was under a mask, but I don't think that was in Europe. So, yeah, that obviously is a big driver. Well, if you've already seen CM Punk, are you going to be desperate to buy another ticket? Are you going to be desperate to come along and check him out again? What surprises can they get that they're gonna surprise you again next time? I think this time people are maybe thinking Mercedes. People are maybe thinking Goldberg. People are maybe thinking like Okada and the New Japan people. And again, if you do all that this time, what are you going to do next time? Because there isn't loads of people out there, is there? There isn't loads of people that you can bring in, keep bringing. There's not this never-ending supply of big names that can still wrestle. Because WWE have kind of got most of them locked down. Now, granted, WWE might let some people go and AEW might be able to pick them up, but I don't know. WWE are going to be very aware that AEW will pounce on anyone. So WWE might be keeping an eye on that situation. I don't know. It's very interesting at the moment. As we said, it'll be great to see where we are once we come out of All In and All Out. WrestleLandy said, Days, do you think we get a big return at Wembley? Well, I don't know about return because I don't know who would return. I mean, I feel like Jamie Hayter will be there. Who would return? I don't know who's gone away that would return, but I think there's a chance that, I mean, I heard rumors they have reached out to Goldberg. I don't know how true that is, but I've heard rumors about that. I think we were all expecting Mercedes. I was expecting Mercedes. The belief is that she should be recovered by the time we get to Wembley. The word on the street was that she was going to be a part of Forbidden Door as well, and that obviously fell through because of her injury. But all that does is it just makes that Wembley show a bit juicier. If you've already seen Mercedes before on TV, then I don't know, maybe it doesn't mean quite as much, but this could potentially be either the first time we see her or the first match that she's going to have. So, like, that's going to all be big. I would expect to see her there. I really don't know about anyone beyond that, to be honest. I don't know. I mean, I'm expecting, like, Okada to be a part of it. I mean, if you're Tony Khan, you're going to definitely have a word with New Japan because you're going to want to make sure that that card is as stacked as possible. You also, though, want to use as many as your own talent. I mean, don't forget, you've got a big roster. You've got Collision. You've got Dynamite. You got Punk. You got FTR. You got MJF. You've got Adam Cole. You got the Elites. Like, you're not really... You got Blackpool Combat Club. You got to find places for all of them on the card as well. So I don't think you want to flood it like with like loads of New Japan talent. I think you would get maybe Ospreay, you'd get maybe Okada. That might be it. This isn't Forbidden Door. But I think that there's going to be a lot of matches on that show. That ain't a show that's going to have 6 matches. All right, that ain't a show that's having 7 matches and then 1 on the pre-show, right? That thing's going to have like 20 odd matches, I would imagine, with loads on the pre-show. I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a 2-hour pre-show and there was like 6 matches on the pre-show, and then there was like 12 matches on the main show, and there was like 18 matches, and that would not surprise me in the slightest. Not in the slightest. Because I think this is your opportunity to go, you know, here's who you want to see, right? And if we haven't got who you want to see, come and check us out next time. We're sorry, but here's 18 matches. Like, I could really see that being the case. That is going to be a long show. That's going to be a long show. Now, I could see that being I think they're trying to get like a 4-hour pay-per-view show, right? I think they're trying to get it 4 hours, but I could easily see a 2-hour kickoff show. I could see that whole thing doing 6 hours. I'm tempted to say, if not longer. I'm really tempted to say like, or like everything added together, like over 6 hours. But I'll say 6 hours for now. 2-hour pre-show, 4-hour main show. Godfather So said Days blowing out that barely legal brackets, not ECW. Nick Wayne, do you think he will feud with Darby since his dad was his trainer? Do you think he will pound AEW groupies now he is legal? RIP Brody. I don't know anything about him. Dude, I don't know anything about him. He's not someone that's on my radar. He's someone I'm looking forward to watching tonight. I've seen a lot of buzz around online about him. A lot of people very excited. That excitement has not reached me, mainly because I don't know anything about him. So I'm gonna check him out, see what he's about, and I'll have a better answer after tonight. But I know there's plenty of people that are excited, plenty of people that are really on board with him as a talent. So the excitement is definitely real. So we'll see if he lives up to the hype. Shakeem says AJ Lee would be a big name for AEW. Yeah, good shout. She would. She, I think, is still doing stuff with women of wrestling, but I would think there's a good chance that Tony Khan has offered her some serious money. I would think he knows that she is definitely someone that fans would love to see one more time. Even if he went up to her and said, look, come and have a farewell match, choose whoever you want. I mean, that's what I would say. I would say, how much is it going to cost me to get you to have one more match at Wembley? You can tell me who you want to work with. I don't care. You tell me who you want to work with, right? And I'll even throw this out there. If you want, you and Punk against someone and someone. So you and Punk against Adam Cole and Britt Baker. If you want to do that, right? If you don't feel comfortable having a singles match, then go out there with Punk and do a mixed tag, right? But the fans love you, and the fans want to see you. And, I would not be as desperate to get you back in the ring if I didn't think the fans were as desperate as what I am to get you back in that ring and for one more performance, You can make it a retirement if you want to. We don't have to do that if you don't want to. Like, all the balls are in your court right now. You talk to me. You tell me how do we make this work? That would be my conversation with her. You tell me. What do we need to do? Right? I don't know how she would say no to that, because, I mean, if she gets to name the price, name her opponent, you're saying, look, I don't need you to commit to anything long term. If you want to, I'll talk about it. But I'm just looking for one thing, and that is a match. I just want to get you for that Wembley show. It's a massive show for us, and I know what the fans want, and they want you to wrestle one more time. I'd be surprised if after all of that she would turn around and say no. I'd be surprised if she was like, no, I can't. If maybe she'd say, oh, I can't contractually because I'm contracted to women of wrestling or whatever. At that point, I'd be like, give me the number who I need to speak to, because I'll just throw some money their way as well, and I'm sure there's some money talks. We can get round whatever we need to get round. I would find a way of making that work. I would be determined to make that work. But I don't know if her heart is in it. I don't know if that's what she wants. I have to think that is a conversation that's come up before. CM Punk's been back and has worked for AEW for quite a while. I would be very surprised if Tony Khan hadn't at some point raised that point with CM Punk to see if he could get her in, I mean, just even if you're having a drink backstage. Hey, how's AJ Lee doing? I remember she used to wrestle, didn't she? Yeah. We're a wrestling company, Oh, yeah. We're looking for talent as well, by the way. I'd be stunned if that. I mean, he'd be an idiot if he hadn't raised it by now. So it might be a tricky one. Callio said Mercedes should be ready by the time All-In happens, depending on how severe her injury is. They should get Sasha Banks if they're smart, aka Mercedes, says Josh. Yeah, a lot of love for Mercedes. I think the rumors were she was going to be coming in for Forbidden Door. That I've no doubt is a conversation that has happened. I've no doubt that's going to happen. I really don't doubt it. I will be shocked if we do Wembley and she is not on that card, right? I will be shocked. Even if she then turns up at All Out, I'll still be shocked that she wasn't at All In, because I've got to think that Wembley show is the biggest show that AEW have ever done. And may ever do. I don't know. I mean, 80, what is it going to be? I think that someone told me they'd done 75,000, maybe a bit more than that now. Even if they go on to do 87,000, I mean, there's not many WWE shows in their history that have done more than 87,000. I mean, there is a very real possibility this could be AEW's biggest ever show, right? So if you manage to get Mercedes and you don't bring her in for that, I'd be stunned. I'd be shocked. So I am massively expecting to see her. Brenton says, shout out to you, Days. Brenton, shout out to you. Expectations and when mystery partners will be announced tonight. I think it'll be Ibushi and either Chris Hero or Jericho would announce them at the beginning and end of the show. Oh, do you mean where in the show will it be announced? I don't know. Does it matter? Who cares? It'll be announced tonight. They have announced that it's going to be tonight. And yeah, we spoke about it earlier. It's going to be Chris Hero. Well, Chris Hero is the one that I didn't hear, but that's the one that's being mentioned quite a bit now. Kota Ibushi is the one that I've kept hearing. Kota Ibushi is the one that keeps getting shouted about. So I would be shocked if it wasn't Kota Ibushi. Chris Hero, we spoke at length about that. I'd love it if it was. I'd love it if it was him. Callio said, this is an unpopular choice for the final member for Blackpool Combat Club. It might be Chris Hero or Jericho, but what if it's Evil Uno? I don't know. Well, I mean, Hangman has got... I can't see it being Evil Uno. Isn't Evil Uno and Hangman like good friends? Aren't they on like the same page? Dark Order and Hangman and all of that. Like, I suppose it could play into a story if he did go for Blackpool Combat Club, because then Hangman would be like, "What are you doing?" I think if he was going to be a partner, he might turn out to go on to Hangman's team. But then I'm feeling pretty good about Kota Ibushi, so don't know. Not one that I'm expecting. I suppose you could tell a story about it, though. Like, Evil Uno, why have you done that kind of a thing? Like, you could definitely make a story out of that. Josh said, Days, if you ever come to Tennessee, me and my wife will cook you some fried chicken. Oh, wow, I might go out my way now. Macaroni and cheese, mashed potatoes, and biscuits. Never had biscuits. Never had it. Don't even quite know what it is, if I'm being honest. I mean, biscuits in the UK are... baked. You break them. They might have chocolate chips in. They might be like cookies, Those are biscuits here in the UK. Equally, you can get them without chocolate chips, of course. I mean, I don't know what you would call that in America. Like, we have, like, a cookie, but it doesn't have the chocolate chips in. It's thin, and that's a biscuit as well, Might have a bit of chocolate on the top, a digestive. And you can just eat them. Some people dunk them in their tea, whatever. But I think the biscuits you're talking about are like softer and like tend to like people have them with like breakfasts, whatever. That is not a thing here. We don't have those. I don't know. I couldn't even quite tell you what they are or what they're made of. Not a thing. I'm sure I could go hunting around in a supermarket, maybe find a pack of them somewhere, right? Because I'm pretty much in our supermarkets, just like in America, I would imagine you've got massive places where you go get your groceries from. You do your food shopping, right? And you can pretty much pick up anything, right? So I'm sure I could hunt some down, but like, actually, is this a thing that I will go to a pub or go to a cafe or go to a restaurant and find on a menu? No, it's not a thing. So I'm tempted by that, to be honest. I'm tempted by that. Nice bit of fried chicken. Who doesn't love fried chicken? Mac and cheese. And biscuits, just to say I've tried them. So I am actually going to America next year in April. And that's probably, this is the kind of thing that I should be thinking about. Because I'm going to Florida. And I'm going to Florida because I want to do some toy hunts. Because I did Wrestling Shop Live. and I was talking to loads of people about, like, people were talking to me about various things, but people were saying they love the toy hunts, blah, 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 blah. And so I'm very aware I need to do toy hunts, more toy hunts, right? Did one not long ago, actually did quite well. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. It's actually done quite well. I'm really pleased. So I definitely need to do more. So I'm going to go to America. The flights are booked. I'm going next April, and I'm starting to make a bit of a list of things I need to do. One of them is I need to find some savers, because I understand that savers is pretty good for finding, like, action figures, according to my friend Triple T. But one of the other things I might do is might try some biscuits. Give them a go. Do a breakdown. Do a review. Let you know how this English boy feels about American biscuits. It's pretty wild. We're going into August. Since September 2022, AEW has only hit 1 million once in February, said Big Time. It's a real power struggle to even spike a number once in a while. Yeah, it feels like the product has decreased and settled to the point where, consistently in 2022, I believe we were getting quite into the millions quite a lot. This year has not been that way. This year we have seen a definite decrease with the AEW. I don't want to say product, but I think that that's true. I think that this year has not been as exciting or as fun as what last year was. And I think that is shown in the ratings as well. So I think that, we've got up there, once was it, you say? 1 million. And it does feel like it's quite an effort to get there now. Before, like, 850 felt like a bad week. Now it feels very much like the norm, very much like a norm. And a good week might be to get to the low 900,000s, mightn't it? So, don't know. I mean, if I'm Tony, I am aware of it. I am doing things about it, right? But it's going to be, it's hard. It's hard. I feel like I sympathize, to be honest, because on YouTube as well, you can do similar. You can have a look at your ratings for the watch-alongs. You can have a look at your ratings for the videos. You can look at your views. You can see your monthly views, and you can see how things are trending. And, like, I've been doing this for 7 years, and it's hard. Like, it doesn't get easier. It's not like every year it's easier to get views. Every year, and I'd have to think this is the same for AEW, it's harder. Everything is harder because there are more and more people all the time going onto YouTube, and some of those channels obviously blow up. Some of those channels, start trending. Some of those channels are in wrestling. And so people only have so many hours in a day free that they can watch stuff. If there are going to be, like, new channels that come along that's going to take people's attention away, well, you find yourself battling and fighting and struggling, and that's a battle that I have every day on YouTube. And so I can sort of sympathize with AEW that they're in that exact same fight, because this is where I think WWE made a comment that I think people were like, but it's true. It does make sense. They said that their competition isn't like just AEW. Their competition is like Fortnite. Their competition is Netflix. Their competition is like sports. And like people, I think, wanted them to say like their competition is AEW, right? But it's not, is it? Well, it is, but it isn't as well. Their competition is anything that takes people's attention away from their product. And if that turns out to be that people are going to play Fortnite rather than sit down and watch Raw, or people are going to watch Netflix rather than watch Raw, or people are going to watch Paramount Plus rather than watch Raw, or they're going to watch whatever, right? Rather than watch Raw, then that is their competition. And this is true. And this is, the battle that AEW are having as well. Every year that goes by, I think, gets harder, not easier. I think last year they had a good year. This year, it's not as good. They could always find a way of pulling the stick up and reversing it and, getting a good story that then gets them consistently working again and gets them consistently back up there again. But equally, it could also be next year we start going to the high 700,000s, you know? And it could be that it actually like continues to decline and settle down at, say, you know, I don't know, 650. And then we like plateau there for a while. And then a good day might be getting back to the 700s. That could happen. Sticking at the 800s could happen. Obviously, going back up to where we was last year could happen. It's a fight, and like you're constantly searching for whatever it is that is going to really grab people's attention, really going to engage people, you know? Like engagement is so important because like you've got to make sure that you are providing content that people actively want to see. This is going to be their struggle. I think that they've had a lot of disruption, in all fairness to them. If you think about the Elite not being around, and or towards the end of last year, and you think certainly about CM Punk not being around, and you think about some of the injuries that they've suffered as well, like they have gone through quite a bit of disruption. So now that we're I feel like we're largely out of that now. Now that we're largely out of that, and you've got Wembley, and you've got All Out, kind of makes me think that we are in, I wouldn't say we're in a great place right now at all. I feel like we are actually in a dip. But as I said, it's going to be real interesting once we've got past those two massive shows to see where we are then. You know, could end up not doing anything. I don't think it will hurt things. I don't expect us to go down. If anything, we go up, but equally we might just flatline and we might still be around this 850,000 range for Dynamite, you know? I've got to say, I think if they can keep Dynamite where it is, I think you probably have to take that as a bit of a success, because one way to look at it would be that about 2 months ago, the amount of views they were getting in a week was about 1.2 million, say, because of Rampage and Dynamite. What they're getting now is about 1.8 million a week, because there's another 500,000 that's been dumped on top, which is Collision, right? 550, I think it was this week. So there's different, I know that they've got more time to fill, but we haven't seen a decline in Dynamite because of Collision arriving, which I think you've got to take that as a bit of a dub. You've got to take that as a dub. The fact that Dynamite hasn't gone because Collision has come along, right? So if I'm Tony Khan, you know, that would be something I'd be getting a bit of comfort from at the moment, is the amount of views I'm getting on my product, AEW as a whole, as a brand, has increased since Collision started. And so, like, that's something that I would be like, okay, well, that's good news, isn't it? That's good. And so, you know, then obviously you've got to try and find a way of improving the numbers. But that's going to be a struggle for the rest of time, isn't it? That's going to be a battle forever. That's a struggle that will never, ever go away. I think, to be honest, how much can you as a person afford for that to consume you, you know? This is a job at the end of the day, right? It's a hobby. It's a job. You can't really afford for this to like take over your life. I mean, like, I wouldn't want Tony to be lying awake at night, like thinking about nothing but Dynamite numbers for the rest of his life. Like, that's not really much fun, is it? So I kind of think, well, it's not in a terrible place, is it? It's not in a horrific place. 850 is good. It's just nowhere near where it was last year. So I suppose the way to look at it is, could it be better? Yeah, it could be better. But then in a way, in a sense, I think it could always be better. So again, you know, if I'm Tony Khan, I'm really trying to make sure that I'm doing what I can to improve the numbers, but I'm also trying to make sure it doesn't take over my life. Right, let's go over to wow, that's loud. AEW Dynamite in Saskatoon, which always makes me think of cartoons. I don't know why. It makes me think of Looney Tunes. Makes me think a little bit of Suffering Succotash. Right, we are in Saskatoon, Canada, for AEW Dynamite. Lots of excitement in the chat over on Fight TV. People pretty pumped up. as Jericho makes his way out. So Jericho against Komander. This was pretty big on the graphic. Looks like it's going to be opening the show. Brenton said, what else is on the card tonight besides the Nick Wayne match, Mystery Partner? We know Blood and Guts will take up a majority of time next week, but tonight seems kind of meh. We've got these semi-finals. So we've got Cassidy and Darby Allin against Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia. We've also got MJF and Adam Cole against Big Bill and Brian Cage. I said earlier, I mean, I like matches that mean something. So the fact that we've got 3 semi-finals tonight, I think, is pretty good. Strickland against Wayne. I've heard a lot about Wayne. I'm excited to see what he is all about. So, you know, that's one that I'm definitely keeping an eye on. This match, this Komander match, I'm really not bothered by this. This doesn't do anything for me at all. And then, of course, we've got the 5th men being announced as well. Jericho in the ring. Final, I need 3 men. Who is the 3rd and final man? Is Komander. If anyone hasn't seen Nick Wayne wrestle, you will be in for a treat, says LS Dub. Komander making his way down 0 and 3. Not very good, is it? Komander, yes. Jericho first, not OC tonight. Yeah, says Chris. Okay, so we've got Komander making his way down. We've got Jericho in the ring. Aubrey Edwards is the ref for this one. We've got, obviously, Fight Forever graphics on the barricades. There's a sign in the crowd that says, I hope both teams have fun. We are up and running. So Tony talking about what it was like back in the 90s, talking about some of the great names. Jericho stepping forward, pushing Komander. Komander with a couple of forearm strikes, driving Jericho back. I saw Fuego del Sol had been released. Chop coming in. I think Komander's maybe filling that Fuego del Sol role now. Jericho being hurled into the corner. Komander charging over. Gets picked up. Komander is upside down. Kicks Jericho. Comes over the top. Jericho catches Komander. Taken over. Drop kick. Jericho back into the corner. Komander charging over. Collides into Jericho. Forearm strikes coming in by Komander at the moment. Jericho in the corner. Komander is in command, says Tony Schiavone. We talked a bit about how Allin is being promoted across the pond. How is Fight Forever doing overseas? Have the reviews over there been opposed in the US? To be honest, I think we all use a lot of the same reviews. I think it's all kind of international now when it comes to, like, for me personally, I tend to look at like IGN and see what IGN are saying. So I don't think that I'm not aware of like UK specific game reviewers. That I think the internet's changed all of that now. I think a lot of those big game, is it like Game Spots? Is that one? That kind of rings a bell. But for me, it's IGN. I always just go to IGN and see what that's looking like. Also, if you look online, I think is Metacritic as well. I feel like Metacritic kind of brings all of those reviews together, and I think that's I think that kind of gives you like the average score as well. Again, though, that's going to be what I'm guessing you use in the US and what we use here in the UK. So. The consensus is that the game needs a bit more time. I've seen most reviews being around 6s. I did see an 8 for it as well, but I've seen a lot that have been around 6s, and people saying that you can see what they're trying to do, but it's just a bit glitchy. You know, it just doesn't feel polished. It feels like it needed a little longer in development. I actually think, I mean, in all fairness, they've built that thing from the ground up. So, you know, the fact that there are some glitches in there and the fact it's not completely perfect, I can sort of understand. And I think that they've got a real good foundation for the next games to come. So I would think that if they are now working on next year's version and they're fixing those issues that have been found, I mean, tightening this thing and fixing it and making it sharper and, you know, getting that feedback from the community about, well, we don't like this, we don't like that, we want this changed, we want that changed. You can get a bit of a list together, can't you? And just go, right, let's sort this, let's sort that, blah, 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 blah. That is so much easier than just building a game from the ground up. So much easier. So I feel like it's not been an epic fail. It's not been like, what was that Cyber one? Do you remember that game that came out that like just wasn't even working? And it was like one of the big AAA titles, Cyber Summit 2046. I remember that from a few years ago, and that was like a meme because of how bad it was. This is not that. But it's not reached the dizzy heights of like No Mercy. It's not reached the dizzy heights of, I think, what people were hoping it was going to be. But I think it could get there or thereabouts with some refining. So, yeah, I think as I say, I think we all sort of used the same reviews. I pre-ordered it, but the hard copy, not digital. I didn't get the extra DLC, which sucked, says Tahil. Ellis Dub said, Fight Forever seems fine. Doesn't seem deep enough for me to buy. No Mercy N64 is the best game ever, says Justin. Ron said it's no way perfect, and I've been soft-locked by glitches, saying that it is fun and it's a good start. Cyberpunk 2077, that one, yes. That one. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I mean, I've heard that it's got some good stuff about it, some decent stuff about it. It actually looks like the kind of wrestling game I would enjoy playing. It's one of those that's easy to pick up. You can have real good fun with your friends, but it's hard to master. It's hard to really like understand everything, like to get to like expert level, competition level, you know. Jericho reversal on the outside. Komander goes into the railing. Jericho getting into the ring as Komander's down on the outside. Jericho flashing the guns. Considering his age, his body's looking pretty good. He has got himself back into shape. I actually saw there was a picture doing the rounds of what Jericho looked like. Do you remember when everyone was like criticizing him for his physique? And honestly, you go back, you look at it, and yeah. I mean, he looks a lot better now. This is Jericho looking considerably better. Shot coming in there by Jericho. Komander on the outsides. All in London, August 27th. Komander looking to try and get a suplex, but it's actually Jericho that suplexes Komander into the ring. A.B. Jobson said, Cyberpunk 2077 plays amazing on my PS5, a dazzling 60 frames per second. I've heard they've put a lot of patches into that, so I think it has kind of been fixed now. I don't know what the remaining issues are. I don't know. How much is it on Steam? I will not have time to play it. Oh, here it is. $24.99 on Steam for Cyberpunk. How much is AEW on Steam? Can I find that? Is AEW on there? Oh, summer sale at the moment. I didn't know this. Summer sale ends soon on Steam. Actually, it ends later today. So if you are looking for some games on Steam, now might be the time to have a look. I didn't know that. I didn't know there was a sale on at the moment. Yeah, I'm going to have a look and see if how much AEW is. I don't know. I think it is on PC, isn't it? Oh, there it is. $49.99. $49.99 at the moment. I can add Matt Hardy for an extra $3.99. You're all right. I thought about it, but you're all right. Coach Co said, last year I got to see War Games live, and next week I'm going to see Blood and Guts live. Have a great time, dude. I hope you have a fantastic time. I hope you really enjoy it. Over the top, Komander, arm drag, down goes Jericho, and oh God, he's rolling all over the place. He's got a backslide, kick out there by Jericho. Kick out by Jericho. There won't be a yearly release as far as I know. Mike Straw of Insider Gaming talked to Pollock and Thurston. He said it might take a few years for another release unless sales go through the roof, says Brenton. Josh said AEW was lucky to have a legend like Jericho to start the company. He made me a huge Jericho fan. You get 2 Matt Hardys, says Tahil. You're all right. Komander climbing up. LS Dub says, has anyone else seen the state of Ring of Honor lately? The cards look like Dark or Elevation. What about Red Dead Redemption games? What about them, buds? What about them? Not a wrestling game, but I was unstoppable on Mario Kart with Toad, said Justin. Right, we've got Komander up top. Shots coming into the midsection of Jericho. Headbutts coming in by Komander as well. Komander is 0-3 in 2023. Jericho's having a right trouble with him. Komander looking to walk the top rope, and he does. 1, 2. Oh, and he splashes down on Jericho. Michael said, how many people would be happy if it was WWE and AEW left? How would y'all feel about that, says Michael. Greggy said, what are your thoughts on Seth still bringing up one into main event WrestleMania 39 over Cody? I haven't heard him say anything about it, to be honest. I don't think I've ever heard him say anything about it. The only person that I've heard him... What's he on about? He wanted to face Logan in the main event over Roman and Cody. What? What? Do you mean instead of Sammy and Kevin? Because even that would make me go, well. The only person that I think had a shout. Look rubbish. I look rubbish. Komander wobbles along the top rope, jumps to the outside, gets barely nothing on Jericho. And the crowd are like, holy... they got half of it right. These moves, he's flying in the air, but the actual final part where he connects on Jericho, there's next to no connection on Jericho. Even that bit on the outside barely touched him. Then he's just come off the top rope, barely touches him. I feel like he does a lot of the hard work. The wobbling away, right? Finally gets there, and then the bit that you'd imagine that would be the easiest bit, which be actually connect with your opponent, he sort of botches it. He's got the crowd with him, in all fairness. He's got the crowd with him, but I can't say those moves blew my mind. But I find it funny that Evil Uno was the first member of Dark Order and worked on the game and the entire production, and he wasn't in the game, says Ron. Lol. Komander up top, goes over. Jericho catches him. Jericho Nice. In the walls. In the Lion Tamer. And Komander taps. I mean, what I would say is that was a battle. That was 16 minutes. Feels like Jericho definitely had a workout there. Definitely had a contest. I just think some of those big spots needed, we said before, I like to see people laying it in. Like to see people really battling away. Seen someone fly in the air and then barely hit their opponent. Here's Don Callis. Let's see what he's got to say. Comes out to no music or anything. Loud boos. I think, does he I reckon he actually, like, colours in that scar, does he? Can't imagine that scar is still red. I think he exaggerates the scar. Don Callis in the ring. Loud boos for Don. Hell of a match, kid. That's why you're the GOAT. Did you see the rating for our segment? The whole wrestling world is buzzing just at the possibility of Jericho joining the Don Callis family. You and I were part of a faction. I'm a bit nostalgic. Oh, he's put a little surprise together. So we've got... That's cool, isn't it? We were like a couple of gods. That was cool, seeing some old footage. Crowd didn't enjoy it. 95? I still have all my hair. Bad News said that you and I should always stick together. This is interesting. I'm into this. I'm intrigued by this. I want to know where this is going. Seen a bit of old footage. Listen to them reminisce. Feel like. I feel like he's up there in heaven right now with a smile on his face. Bad News, Allin. You know what Bad News. You know what Bad News would want your answer to be. So he's really guilting Jericho here into joining Don Callis. Look, Jericho looking up. They've done a really good job of making you believe that it's going to go that way. They've done a really good job of making you believe that he's going to agree to this. I don't think he will. I think for them to tease it out this much and to make it such a thing like this, it just feels, doesn't it, that he's going to turn around and say no eventually, but... Right. Bad News getting mentioned. Yeah, it was good. Really good. I feel old now, said Zoom Station. 1995, yeah. I wasn't born in 95, says Prince Moolah. Okay, we're seeing a couple of weeks ago with Jungle Boy jumping in a car and screeching away as they run away from Hook. Hooker then, of course, attacking Jungle Boy last week, so we didn't get any further on that. Okay, we've got Alex Marvez. How has he still got a job? How does he still work there? How's Alex Marvez still work there? Jungle Boy said this is an unsafe work environment. Trying to get out, but Hook's managed to get in the car. So Hook's in the car. Hook's grabbing Jungle Boy. Hook opens the door. It's hard to see him because he's got a black hoodie on. And the car drives away. Keep running, Perry. Hook says, keep running, Perry. Nick Wayne, the 18-year-old pro wrestling prodigy. Also tonight, Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite reveal their 5th members. Up next is Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin against Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia. Travis said, so Hook was in the car the whole time? I don't think so. As the car pulled away, you could see someone that was like down on the ground. I think he had attacked someone and opened the door whilst Jungle Boy was talking. Those child locks do suck, says Dahil. LSW said it's not bad, but Jericho's in a weird spot where we can't tell if he's a face or a heel. He's thinking of joining Callis, but he's also slightly acting face in the process. Yeah, it's a fair point. Eric says, I was at Blood and Guts last summer. It was a fun show. Hook's character hasn't really been explored yet in AEW. He's always just a silent killer. This Perry feud will be something different and good for him, says LSW. Elizabeth said, in the 80s, the TV series Miami Vice was on. That is true. Zoom Station said, I think Jericho will join Blackpool Combat Club for Blood and Guts, but that's it. He was in the car the whole time, said Travis. Why was Hook selling? How was he damaged, says Jack9. I think, didn't Jungle Boy like hit him a couple of times back? Maybe he got him pretty good. Don't know. I must say, like, because he was wearing that black hoodie, it was hard to see him. So it was kind of hard to make out everything that was happening because he was just like stealth, like a ninja. So yeah, not the greatest of moments in the history of AEW Dynamite. But I agree with Alistair. I think that this is what Hook needs, rather than just coming down, beating people, and going off silently. Like, he needs a feud to get his teeth into. Josh said, me and my dad attended the WWE pay-per-view Final Four in 1997. Main event was a four-way: Stone Cold, Vader, Bret Hart, and Undertaker. I love 97. I think 97 is like such a great year. It's such a special year as well because it's that pre-Attitude year, isn't it? And I feel like it's putting the pieces in place. It's putting the blocks in place for what was to come, but it hadn't completely gone bananas at that point. And you get, like, you know, the Montreal Screwjob at Survivor Series. You get, am I right in saying 97 Rumble was in Texas at the Alamo Dome? Which I think was pretty cool. And, you know, there was just a Stone Cold and Bret, the Canadian Stampedes. There was like just some really fun stuff. Hell in a Cell, Kane's debut. There's some really fun stuff that goes on in 97. Really fun year. That's a good lineup though, isn't it? Or you say, what a fatal four-way that is. Here's Renee, here's Don. Renee wants a reaction. Yep. Jericho's a fabulous athlete. So the 5th member for Blackpool Combat Club is going to be announced later by Don Callis. Blood and Guts next week. If there's one person that I'm not afraid of in this business, it's that gutless coward, Kenny Omega. Kenny will be hiding behind the skirts of the Young Bucks. Okay. Mitchell said, Days, being 21, surely that footage in 1995 was the first you saw of it, or any 97 mentions is stuff you saw didn't see live. Oh, I didn't see it live. I mean, the network is a thing. YouTube exists. I mean, I talk a lot about Bruno Sammartino. I didn't see that either. I mean, come on, guys. This was last week's segment where MJF had his face put in the cake. Right. The bromance continues. We're seeing Adam Cole and MJF sharing shots. I feel like you're not being a team player. Where's the shirt? You're trying to BS the BS guy. So MJF upset with Adam Cole that he's not wearing the shirt. Two for me, two for you. Max is trying to lead Adam Cole astray. I care about Britt. You are so brave. So MJF has gone over to the ladies. Okay, MJF's back. He never lost the shirt, Adam Cole. He said, I'll put it on if we do what I want to do. Oh, and that's play Fight Forever. MJF's like, what the? You're in the game. Your stats are pretty good. This is just an advert for the game, isn't it? It'd be fun, though, how they got to this advert for the game. Yeah, do you know what? This is actually, MJF's actually enjoying it, Do you know, it's actually really good. Oh my God. This might be the best wrestling game I've ever played. Is this available? Wow. What consoles can I... Downloadable content, you say? Hit pause for a second. Let's pause this amazing game. When we were forced to be a tag team, I had every intention of blindsiding you. MJF said I was going to do the same. You're pretty cool, Max. MJF says Adam Cole is cool. So MJF says, how about me and you win those AEW tag titles? Now let's get back to this sick game. I mean, look, you can have fun with it. I don't hate it at all. Their bromance is, I mean, to be honest, look, those are the kind of segments that I want to see and have wanted to see on Dynamite for so long. Give us some storyline, give us some character developments, you know, and that is giving me that. So as much as there was an advert for Fight Forever in there, yeah, I enjoyed that. I thought that was fine. I thought that was good. Darby Allin making his way down to the ring now. It's cringe and funny at the same time, said James. I agree. Right. Darby and Orange Cassidy. Who are they taking on? Is it Garcia and Guevara? Boom. What is it that makes you want to tune into AEW? Don't mean to be rude, just interested in what you enjoy. I've to be honest, I've seen stuff on AEW that I have enjoyed. I mean, I like Bryan Danielson. I like him. I enjoy watching him wrestle. I enjoyed Britt. I enjoyed FTR. I enjoyed the Acclaimed. It's not so much the stories that I tune in for. It's the wrestlers. I think there's just a pool of talent there that I do enjoy watching. I like the Acclaimed. I enjoy watching those. I think this MJF Adam Cole story is pretty fun right now. So, like, I'm not the biggest MJF fan. I think that he's perfectly fine, but I also think he's overhyped. I think that he can do a lot just to shock, and I don't know, once like he talks a lot and doesn't say a great deal, and then he'll throw something in just to sort of shock. And then that's what everyone kind of like loses their minds over. I think he's good. I think he's, you know, one of the better talkers around at the moment, but he's not, I wouldn't tune in just for MJF. But I like his story that he's got at the moment with Adam Cole. So it's, yeah, I mean, I would say that I don't tune in for the storylines. I tune in because I think that you will see at least one good match on the show. Whatever your taste, you know, if you like high spots, fast-paced action, big high spots, there'll be something on the show for you. If you like good back and forth competition, there'll be that for you. To be honest, if you like hardcore wrestling, there stands a chance that there'll be blood and there'll be something on that front for you as well. Normally pretty good tag team wrestling, tag team action as well. So I think you can get a decent match, if not more than one. I think you can get at least one. I think there's a pool of talent there that are good that I enjoy watching. And honestly, they have done some good stories in the past. As I say, I think MJF Adam Cole's fun. I think I keep going back to MJF Wardlow because that was red hot, wasn't it? People were really into that MJF and Wardlow. I think their Hangman story as well, that people were massively into Hangman. And that kind of story that played out over a long period of time. And look at things like Cody and Dustin. I mean, Cody Rhodes against Dustin was that was one of their kind of very first great matches from like back in 2019. But they've done a pretty good job of having like regular, like great matches like that. It's one of those. It's one of those companies that I think is just worth tuning in for because I think you stand a chance of seeing something that you're going to enjoy. I think that's, for me, what I get from AEW. Sammy putting his hands in his trunks And Orange Cassidy doesn't. He grabs Sammy. Arm drag. But Max is a strong character. That's what attracts people. There's a lot of weak characters in wrestling. He isn't one. Similar to LA Knight, it's the charisma that appeals, says Trini. William said that might have been a wet dream about Jaws. William, I hope you're well. I hope you're dry. A.B. Jobson said, what show are you looking forward to most this weekend? I haven't got far enough to this weekend. I don't even know what's on, but this weekend, to be honest, I always do my research on a Thursday, so I haven't even begun looking at this weekend. People always ask me, are you doing this on, like, August or whatever? You're doing that on, September. I don't even know what I'm doing this Saturday. So, Darby in the ring, drop kick. Did you see the Sting figure that was revealed at San Diego Comic-Con? It looked great. I haven't. No. Is San Diego Comic-Con started, is it? I didn't even know that had started. I thought that was, next week. So San Diego Comic-Con's next week. So I'm guessing this Sting must be like an exclusive, maybe? San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, Jazzwares Sting. I'll bring it up and put it on screen. I saw the Muhammad Ali one that Mattel have done as their exclusive. That's pretty cool. Okay, we've got Darby being chucked against the ropes. Orange Cassidy kind of going through the ropes, gets caught by Garcia. He gets chucked into the railing. Right, we've got Darby and Garcia in the ring. He's got him by the head. He's spinning him round. And Darby goes down. You spelled Garcia wrong. Oh, yeah, I missed the R. Who is the sexiest guy in this match, says Hagen Daz. Me, because I'm watching it. Right, we've got Darby Allin down. Tag, in comes Sammy. Oh, this is taking forever to load. Forever. Right, tag has been made. Slammiversary should be amazing, says AB. Oh yeah, I've got the figure that's. It's Garcia is in control. I've got the Andre in the pink shirt with Andre title that you spoke about, says Defcon Eric. That's cool. I love that Andre figure from Elite 100. That's really cool. Darby in a bit of pain at the moment. We're 40-odd minutes into the show. This, of course, in the semi-final. Esteban said this is sloppy. Right, we've got a Boston Crab going over. Tag by Sammy. Sammy coming in. Sammy grabbing Darby, going for the cover. Kick out by Darby. That's nice head scissors. Head scissors applied by Sammy on Darby, keeping him grounded. Don't know if we're at commercial break. Feels like we might be. It's a little slow. That normally means we're at commercial break. Kick coming in there by Garcia. Days, Naomi revealed that after the walkouts, outside of Tamina and Bailey, barely anyone in the women's locker room stayed in touch. she realized who her real true friends are. Defcon Eric said, would you do a shorts video again on the different variations of Mattel titles? I think some of us would be amazed how many different versions of each belt there are now. I definitely would do that. I definitely would do that. I have been thinking about doing little figure videos again. I think it's been quite a few years since I did a whole series of them, but the amount of research, because there's so many figures. It's one of those where you'll do it and then someone will be like, oh, you forgot this one. So it's like, you know, you really have to do your research. So yeah, I would, but I wouldn't expect it anytime soon. Face first, we've got Garcia. Cross body there by Orange Cassidy. Cassidy against the ropes, duck underneath. Round the houses. Goes down. Kick there by Cassidy. Garcia going against the ropes, over the top. Nice work there by Cassidy and a lovely driver and kick out. Yeah, big driver. Wrestle Andy said, I've ordered the game. First computer game I've bought in years. Well, enjoy it, buds. As I said, I've seen a lot of 6s. A lot of people saying it's fun. There was an 8 in there as well, though. I reckon you get your money's worth out of it. Mitchell said, I'm waiting for Head Rock to combat the Head Scissors. Nice. I didn't know where you was going with that then. Nice turnover by Garcia. Going over, forearm strike to Darby. Big, he's trying to grab Orange Cassidy there. Big strike coming in. Grabs Cassidy, looking to pick him up. Oh, stun dog. Stun dog by Cassidy. A stunner there by Darby. DDT by Cassidy. 1, 2, and Sammy makes the save. So this is, of course, the semi-final. Winner goes through to the final. They will take on the winners of the other semi-final that's later in this show. I don't know when the final is, actually. Round the houses goes Orange Cassidy. He gets pushed back into the corner. Knee strike there by Sammy. Sammy gets planted. It's fast-paced action, of course. I'm going to pick up the game once they add the DLC wrestlers and release it as a gold edition, says Esteban. Yeah, they probably will do that eventually, won't they? Where they will release it as like a special. I don't know when that'll be, though. I mean, probably waiting quite a long time for that. Where can I watch AEW? It depends where you are, but Cassidy down. Garcia down. Referee counting away. Of course, still to come tonight, we've got Ruby Soho and Skye Blue. Referee counting away. Swerve Strickland against Nick Wayne. We got that coming up as well. Going over, making a tag. In comes Sammy. In comes Darby. So, big shots coming in by both of these guys. Driving Darby back. Darby going over to the corner. Sammy goes over. Darby moves out the way. Headbutt. Darby goes down. Sammy goes down. Referee comes over. On the outside, we've got Orange Cassidy and we've got Garcia. So they're down on the outside. The other two are down in the ring as well. Crowd applauding away, trying to get these guys back up to their feet. But at the moment, it is everyone down. If Ibushi debuts, I will give it a 10, says Mitchell. Big Time said, is it me or does the arena look dark? Are we getting something at the end or is it an empty arena? I believe there's 2,500 in attendance. I can't say that it looks much different to me. I don't feel like it's like especially darker or anything along those lines. It could be a case that there's, not many people in attendance. But I can't say that it's like especially dark. 29th for this month. What are you planning on covering? Spence or Crawford or UFC pay-per-view? Don't know, Steve. Haven't got that far. Corvid said it's crazy that AEW is continuing a storyline between Nick Wayne and Swerve or after almost 3 full years, says Corvids. Ectastic said, had Royal Rumble for Sega when it first came out. Loved the songs. Yeah, love that game. Great game. So there's been some good games. I mean, I still feel like No Mercy is probably top of the tree, but one that I especially enjoyed was SmackDown versus Raw 2008, which is a very specific title. And I can't even say there's really anything that special about it. But it did have GM mode, which I loved. But it was just a game that I really gave some time to. Sammy and Daniel Garcia have managed to secure the win. So they go through to the final. The final is next Wednesday on Dynamite. So I've got to say, that's quite a surprise. I really thought Orange Cassidy and Darby were going to make it. Sammy has gone over to just have a few words there with Darby. Puts his hand out. Darby shakes his hand. I think there's a bit of respect being shown between those two, but it is going to be Garcia and Sammy that progress. Okay, so now we've got a video package on Nick Wayne. He's got a wrestling ring in his garage. This is where I was taught and trained to be a wrestler. He started training seriously at 9. Wow, he's talking about how his dad passed away. I felt lost. I felt clueless. He said that once his dad passed, he was doing it for him, but he felt like he was doing it for his dad. This is an amazing video package. This is the kind of video package that established wrestlers would dream of having, let alone someone that we've not seen. Brilliant. I knew that I was ready. I knew that professional wrestling was meant for me. That is a brilliant, brilliant video package. That was so good. There's times where I completely forgot I was even live streaming. There's times where I'm just like, and I was just watching it because he is talking about like how his mom took him into the garage, sat him down, and said to him that, like, you know, your dad had heart problems. He's not with us anymore. And like he said that he'd been training since he was 9. Said that you know, wrestling is all he's ever wanted to do. I mean, honestly, I'm expecting him to be good. I mean, I've heard amazing stuff about him anyway. But I mean, you see that he's got a wrestling ring at home and he's been training for 9 years, since he was 9 years old. And you see him training with Darby as well. Like, that's, yeah, him against Swerve. And I like Swerve as well. So, you know, that question was asked earlier, why do you watch AEW? Well, I would say that this match, which I didn't even know that I wanted to see today, like when I woke up this morning, I didn't even know about this match. But obviously, as we were getting closer to the stream, I like to try and catch up with wrestling news. And I saw the hype around this guy. And I like Swerve. So I was like, okay, well, there's a little something there for me to get into. But that video package was brilliant. There are, you know, that's kind of video package that Ricochet would kill for. Ricochet would love to have like a video package like that where he can, like, you know, just take a moment to show you his journey and what, you know, what he's been through, and kind of, I don't know that he's gone through the same sort of hardships as what that guy has, but man, there's honestly established wrestlers that don't get that. Brilliant. More of that, please. Brian Alvarez has helped him out as well, said ecstatic. Where does Day of Reckoning rank? Day of Reckoning is my favorite. Day of Reckoning 2 was okay, but nowhere near as good. That was on the Cube, wasn't it? I believe. I seem to recall that was the GameCube game. If it's the one I'm thinking of, I would say that it would be in my top 5. I just spent a lot of time with SmackDown versus Raw 2008. I'd have to have that in my top 5. I'd have to have No Mercy up there. I'd have to have Here Comes the Pain. That would be up there as well. And then I don't know about my other ones, to be honest. I feel like spent a lot of time. Oh, it's hard not to say WrestleFest, man. That game. I used to run to arcades just to see if they had that game in the arcade. So we don't really have many arcades in England apart from the seaside town. So if ever you went to the seaside, they would have arcades. I used to just go searching for that game, man. That's pretty special. So I can't. It's a weird one though, isn't it? Because I can't say that I've played it all that much. Oh, here's Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong said when we first met, we weren't the best of friends. We've got nothing to worry about. So he said Brian Cage just walked past him in the corridor. He thinks he's now got the flu. Adam Cole's like, I've got to go, Roddy. Max, you have not got the flu. Again, look, you know, we're going back to that story throughout the show. So they had their segment earlier. Now we've just had this backstage thing. Now we're going to the match. Here's Big Bill. Big Bill. Brian Cage versus Adam Cole and MJF. Trey Gaming, shout out to you. Said, have you played Legends of Wrestling 2? I have. I've actually got a Hulk Hogan. I don't know where I put him. I folded him up. For the longest time, there's been a Hulk Hogan standee here next to me, like for years. And I got that from the entertainment store that I worked in. And that was to advertise Legends of Wrestling. So I bought that game the day it came out. I bought Legends of Wrestling 2 the day it came out. I love the roster. I don't love the gameplay as much. The other one that kind of reminds me of that is All Stars. There was another one that I believe was called All Stars that had a pretty sick roster as well, of like loads of legends. I think the current games have obviously got plenty of legends in as well. It's funny, innit? But back in the day, like, roster space was tight. But as, you know, the formats have grown, and now really you've kind of got unlimited space, haven't you? You know, we have games that are like 70 gig. So, like, back in the day, you had to be really selective of your roster. So, yeah, I love the rosters on those, but the gameplay, I couldn't put those in my top 5, even though the rosters are really what I would want them to be. I love the legends. Way more excited about playing a game full of legends than the current stars, to be honest. Okay, MJF has made his way down and he's fist bumping the crowds. Adam Cole, there's MJF on the outside getting ready. MJF's vibrating away. MJF running around Adam Cole. Okay, so Brian Cage, Big Bill, MJF, Adam Cole. MJF running around and really making the most of this entrance with Adam Cole. MJF chants. All this game talk makes me want to play 2K23, says Trini. WrestleLandy said, my top 5 would be WWF Attitude, Warzone, WrestleMania, the arcade game, In Your House, and Here Comes the Pain. WWE and AEW fans said MJF and Adam Cole will win. Carlos said MJF is good, but is too small for WWE. Oblongbox said Big Bill and The Cage need to win this whole thing. Okay, so he's trying to pick up Big Bill. MJF goes over. Tag. Adam Cole on the outside as MJF walks away. MJF got a bit disheartened there as he was trying to slam Big Bill. Couldn't do it. Started walking away. Adam Cole's gone to make sure that he comes back. MJF making his way back. Adam Cole stepping inside. Here's Brian Cage. I mean, honestly, if you look at Big Bill and Brian Cage, I mean, they are a formidable team. I mean, Brian Cage, that is just... Adam Cole is doing some push-ups as well. So Adam Cole does some push-ups. So he does 11. And the crowd cheer. Big Bill and his lolly. John, shout out to you. Smack a Frog said, Days acknowledge me during this rubbish show. Smack a Frog, shout out to you. James said, Bray's 2K23 entrance got released earlier. I can't take anyone called Big Bill seriously, says Keelan. It's crazy how much more Cole is ripped than Brian Cage, said Mitchell. The MJF Cole video game commercial might be one of the strangest I've ever seen, said John. Right, well, there's been a lot of talking here. There's been a lot of stalling. Right now, we got MJF again trying to pick up Big Bill. Can't do it. Again, his back gives out. You can't let him outshine you like that. Not the match I was expecting, to be honest. Now we've got MJF doing push-ups as Big Bill kicks him. Big Bill grabbing MJF and throwing in some shots to the side of the heads. William said, am I in the minority of really wanting Bray Wyatt back? I don't think you're in the minority. Mitchell said, does this match count towards the halftime scores? It will do, yeah. We always do, whenever we do halftime scores, we basically do up to that point. I don't expect people to remember the first hour and try and exclude, like, the last 8 minutes or whatever it is. This is a push-up match. Who can do the most push-up wins, said Kojiko. Trini says, no, I think the Uncle Howdy situation scared a lot of people, soured a lot of people, so they're not exactly excited. Yeah, I think people like Bray, right? I don't think there's a problem with people actually liking Bray. I think people like Bray. I think they are just... It's hard to get excited when you really don't know what the story and creative is going to be. Trini's right. Like, the Uncle Howdy thing didn't land. It didn't work. I mean, I don't think we got the full story, to be honest. Or at least I hope we didn't. I would like us to explore that relation. Where the hell did he come from? Who is he? Why have we never seen him before? Why has he never been referenced before? Where did he come from? What's the relationship? I mean, you'd feel like these are pretty basic standard questions that should get answered, right? I understand that we don't answer everything. There's plenty of little Easter eggs that we never find out if, if they are what we think they mean or what they mean, or, it's just non-stop speculation. But I feel like there's definitely things that need to be answered. And who the flip is Uncle Howdy is a pretty big one. So the fact that we kind of went through that feud and then they were standing side by side and we then started a Bobby Lashley feud. And it didn't feel like we were then going to talk more about the Howdy situation. It felt like we were then focused on Bobby instead. It was just not what people wanted, was it? But we would talk about this on the Wrestling Escape Pods, the podcast we do on a Tuesday. It's got its own channel. We were over there talking about it, and we were saying, like, what do people want? And Wyatt family won. And we said, do you want the current version? Do you want Wyatt family? Do you want Funhouse? Or do you want a mixture? And I really thought mixture was going to win. I really thought people would be like, oh, I'll have a bit of everything. Sometimes, if you've got lots of flavors that you like, you just go, oh, just give me it all. I'll just put it in the thing. And I really thought mixture was going to win. It didn't. Wyatt family won. Wyatt family won. People want Wyatt family back. Or certainly a good chunk of this community. Big Bill with a kick to the side of the head of MJF. DLC4 is Bray, Uncle Howdy, Blair Davenport, Joe Gacy, Valhalla, and Zeus. And it comes out next Wednesday, said Justin. David said the whole build-up was way too long, and then it was just a load of meh. AG said, I think the last good run of Bray is probably making a fairly large new cult that runs through everything. Don't know if WWE is willing to do that. Let Him In said, I tried to get into the Howdy story because I love Bray so much, and it was interesting, but there was too many unanswered questions. And you know what? I honestly think it is fine to say that. I honestly think it's fine to say that. I honestly think it is fine to to say that there was just too many unanswered questions. I think he could come back and do that same thing, but answer those questions, flesh it out a bit more, make us understand better as to what the relationships are. And that would be great. Or he could come back and just go in and, like, go into a Wyatt family direction, which I think people would enjoy. But I think people want the Fiend as well, I think if he brought the Fiend back, that would go some way to pleasing people. Don't know. Just need to get him back to really get him back and see what he can do then. Brian Cage in the ring then, looking to charge over. Clothesline to MJF. MJF picking up Brian Cage. No joy. Goes between the legs. MJF trying to make the tag to Adam Cole, baby. Lands on his feet there. MJF pokes the eye of Brian Cage. Makes the tag. In comes Adam Cole. Adam Cole comes over. Big boot by Adam Cole. Another big boot by Adam Cole. Cole goes against the ropes. Lands on his feet. Kick coming in. No joy. Poke to the eyes there. Another big boot. Down goes Brian Cage. Adam Cole circling around. Double clothesline. MJF wants the double clothesline. So we've got MJF getting in the ring. We got Brian Cage going against the ropes. No joy. Big Bill is in. Big Bill with a double clothesline. He knocks down both Adam Cole and MJF. Big Bill in position. Grabbing Adam Cole. Grabbing MJF. They both stomp on his feet. Kicks to the knees. Double super kick to the head. Big Bill goes out to the outside. Here's Brian Cage. Double clothesline again there by Brian Cage. Picks up Adam Cole. Picks up MJF. He's got both guys. Oof. So a Samoan drop and a fall away. Now we've got MJF on his feet. Brian Cage goes over, goes through the ropes to the outside. Still to come is Swerve against Nick Wayne. Brilliant video package earlier. Brilliant. Actually think this has been a decent Dynamite. I wasn't massively into Jericho against Komander, but, it wasn't like a disgrace by any means. Win for Adam Cole. Adam Cole pinning Brian Cage. But I like the MJF Adam Cole little story that's been going on. Bit of a surprise seeing Garcia and Sammy qualify, but that's going to be the final next week now. Final is going to be Adam Cole, MJF against Garcia and Sammy Guevara. That's the final next week. Let's see what they've got to say. Crowd applaud. Saskatoon. MJF said, have we got any devil worshippers in the house tonight? I am super over. MJF starts do the thing chant. I know MJF is going to turn, but I love him being a face, says Mitchell. MJF said, here's another thing that's cool. Our brand spanking new t-shirt. We are so close to hitting that double clothesline. It's coming, says MJF. Double clothesline, chant. You guys are real white. You've got to get it together on one beat. Who's ready for story time? I watch AEW because of you guys. I wouldn't watch. I would be curing cancer or living on Pluto, devoting my brain to scientific pursuits, says William. Oh, okay. Well, bit of a shame we're denying the world that, to be honest. So Adam Cole said, not only has this worked, but I think we're doing pretty damn good. Okay, he said he didn't have high expectations for the team, but he does have high expectations for winning this tournament. James said, I watch AEW because I enjoy watching it. The crowd love MJF and Adam Cole, said WWE AEW fan. Sonny, hello, hope you are well. Jam said, one payoff would be Max turning as the bell rings in the final. Adam Cole says he's going to make a promise. If we stay on the same page that we've been on, you are looking at the new tag team champions. And why is that? Because we're better than you, baby. Right, next week, the final. Next week. Justin said, I made cheese ravioli and leftover meat sauce for dinner. I must tip my hat to this one. Jam said, felt a bit flat about MJF's reign. Same goes for Roman. Roman, after defeat in the first 3 pay-per-views, hasn't defended the next 3. MJF has fallen to this. Beep. Days, I want to use this platform to say hashtag universal basic income now for all. Tahil said, love this duo. Mitchell said, I love them together. I hope they extend it out. Chris said, what would you think about MJF and Adam Cole against FTR? Or would Sammy and Daniel versus FTR be better? Suppose Sammy and Daniel would be better. FTR, I believe, are faces. So it would be better for them to face heels. But also, the future for MJF and Adam Cole is surely as opponents and as single stars, not as tag champs. You know, they're not going to have MJF be a long-term tag champ. I don't think they'll have him be a tag champ at all. I mean, MJF either they fail and then MJF turns on him next week, or they fail against FTR and MJF turns on him. But I've got to think that with so many shows coming up, you're not going to want your tag titles and your top title being on the same person. Otherwise, that person likely is going to have to work 2 matches. Jake Hager having a word with Jericho now. You're Jericho. You got a lot going on. But this isn't just your career. This is mine too. Gives him the hat. Jake Hager walks away. God, do you know, just listening to Jake Hager then be serious talking to Jericho just makes me think we've really botched Jake Hager in AEW. He looked cool. Like, being honest and just handing over, like, oh man, just cutting out some of the silliness and just actually having some, like, real good, heartfelt segments, you know? I mean, some of the best things we've seen, like the Nick Wayne segments, which was, like, amazing, that little video package. That bit there, it was really good as well between Hager and Jericho. It feels different. This feels different. This does not feel like the AEW that we've been watching. You know, there's storylines going on here and multiple segments dedicated to stories where we're getting backstage moments with MJF and Adam Cole, interview with Adam Cole, a match, a promo after. Now we're getting a segment with Don Callis, with Jericho. Now we're getting that thing backstage with Hager and Jericho. Like, we're getting multiple segments dedicated to a story that's weaved throughout the show. And it just doesn't, I don't feel like this is the Dynamite that I've been watching. This doesn't feel like the Dynamite that we've been seeing. So, and for the better, this is for the better. So yeah, some good stuff tonight. Some good stuff. Yeah, halftime scores. You're right. Let's do halftime scores.
Halftime scores, everybody. It's the halftime scores. I really want to know your halftime scores. Put it in the chat. Halftime scores, everybody. It's the halftime scores. Are you happy? It's the halftime scores. Are you happy or you sad? Halftime scores, everybody. It's the halftime scores. I should get that recorded. If I got it recorded, I could just press play then. Just sit here like this.
52 Games said he loves that hat. Rob said, Dynamite feels like it's been influenced by Collision booking tonight. Joe said Jake Hager doesn't want his hat anymore. Days, how do you feel about a heel Matt Riddle using his MMA background and changing his appearance? I feel like Matt has gone stale ever since Randy was injured. Yeah, I think that I don't know about heel. I think that Riddle is a pretty fun. I think the version of Riddle we've got is an extension of who he is in real life, and sometimes that works the best. I saw actually a TikTok with him where he was backstage and he was like, "Yeah, bro," and he looked out of it, man. He looked really gone. I think the version of him we get is an extension of him. Him being heel, I mean, you can do it. Of course, you can do it, but I don't know. I feel like we just need some good creative for him. That's largely what it comes down to, is good creative. Need some good creative. We still haven't found the right way to present him. I think what worked was having him doing his and bouncing off someone that was playing it straight. So you've got, Riddle being all loose and carefree, and then you had Randy Orton as the straight guy that was like trying to have to put up with it. And like, as you say, that was great. Without that, it hasn't worked. But what I would say is you didn't see Riddle for a lot at the end of last year because of his like rehab. Didn't see him for a lot of this year. He came back and he's kind of been winding up Kevin a little bit. That's been okay. But I don't disagree. It doesn't feel like it's quite clicked. I don't know that a heel turn is the thing to do, though. Sky Blue is taking on Ruby. I can see the scores coming in. Lots of 7s tonight, actually. Rob's with a 7.9. Loopy Girl with a 7. Erasure Mine with a 7.5. Seth Freakin' Rollins, 7.5. John, 7.12. James, 7.25. Kieran, 7.5. John, 7.12. Luke with an 8.5. Joe with a 7. Alex with a 7.5. 6 from Trey. 3 from Travis. 675 from LS Dub said most of the main talking points are yet to come. Mitchell said halftime score, I'm at a 7-2-7-2-5. It's been fun. If Ibushi shows, I will pop. Yeah, some good scores there. Right, we've got Skye Blue taking on Ruby Soho. So we are underway with this match. We've got 40 minutes to go. And the back goes Ruby. Strike coming in there by Skye Blue. Skye Blue grabbing Ruby, hurling her into the corner. Skye Blue going over to the other side, charging over. Up to the outside. Big forearm strike. Here's Tony. Tony popping up on the edge of the ring as Ruby grabs Skye Blue. Kick coming in there by Skye. Another big kick coming in as Tony goes down. Another kick there by Skye as Ruby goes to the outside. Skye grabbing Ruby, looking for a Snapdragon. Couple of back elbows coming in by Ruby. Elbow coming in there by Skye. Skye jumps to the outside, plants Ruby on the edge of the ring. That's pretty sick, actually. It's pretty good. In the ring goes Ruby. Skye goes into the ring steps. Ref having a word. Ruby on the outside. You're out of there. You're out of there. So they've been removed. They've been removed. So Tony is not happy. Soraya, I think, is being removed as well. Both of them have been kicked out from ringside. In all fairness, they shouldn't be there anyway. I mean, I think we've seen enough out of them to know that they're only going to distract. We've got na goodbyes breaking out. Taz said, if I was Ruby, I would go after that knee because Skye Blue got hurled into those ring steps. She got hurled quite hard, actually. Ruby pointing at the trophy, saying to Skye Blue that she's never going to be winning it. And I think we're about to go to commercial break at the moment. Picture in picture, though, as Skye Blue is thrown back into the ring. Ruby in there with Skye Blue. Dave, Skye Blue is giving Bailey and Hayter some major competition in the rear, said Godfather's Ho. James said, being thrown out means nothing. They'll be back like Don Callis. Love the ref ejection motion, says Mitchell. Macarai said, do you think MJF turns on Cole in the final or gets in the head of Cole and make him turn on Strong? I think he will turn on him. I don't know if it'll be in the final or... Yeah, I suppose final probably makes sense. I don't know if it'll be in the final or if they actually do compete against FTR, but if the... I don't know when that match is. I don't know, when would they face FTR for the titles? If it's on like a Dynamite or Collision, that's fine. If it's at a pay-per-view, no. I can't see MJF working twice, and he's going to have to defend the AEW title. So if it's on a Collision or Dynamite, then fine. We could get FTR against MJF and Cole, and then maybe that's where MJF turns on Cole. But if that match against FTR is at All In or something, no. MJF, I can't see him doing two matches. Skye Blue smashing her leg into the ring. I think we're still in picture. It's a little slow. Jam said, I wouldn't be surprised if AEW made the tournament just to develop Cole MJF story. Anthony said MJF will turn heel. Days, how do these sound for All In, said Jam. CM Punk against Adam Cole, Keith Lee versus Samoa Joe, MJF against Kenny Omega. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Is that even possible? I suppose anything's possible. But like Adam Cole's on Dynamite and MJF is on Collision. So I don't know quite when their paths will cross. I don't even know where Samoa Joe is. I actually don't know. I know he said that the rosters aren't like a hard split, so you can get crossover. I mean, in all fairness, if someone on Collision gets to become the number one contender, they've got to be able to face MJF, haven't they? You know? Kick there by Skye Blue. Ruby Soho goes into the ring. Skye Blue is up top, jumps over Ruby. So CM Punk, Adam Cole. Suppose you could do it. But as I said, they're on different shows. Samoa Joe, MJF. Samoa Joe against Keith Lee. Yeah, I don't know. Without knowing the rosters, I really don't know. I just don't know where Samoa Joe is. 1, 2, kick out. Cord cutting might also be something that makes it more challenging to regain fans as less people having access to TBS TNT. WWE has that same challenge with Raw and NXT, says Big Time Baxter. Right, I think we might be back from picture in picture. We've got Ruby grabbing Skye Blue. Skye Blue gets flipped over. Kick to the midsection by Skye Blue. Skye Blue going over, upside down. She's trying to get Ruby over. She's like pulling her around all over the place. Now she's grabbing the leg. So really working on that knee at the moment. Skye Blue in a lot of pain. Skye Blue screaming in pain. This might be it. Now, that might be it for Ruby unless Skye Blue can get to the ropes. She's trying to get over. She's crawling her way over and she gets to the ropes. So Skye Blue gets there and she was in quite a considerable amount of pain there. Ruby grabbing Skye Blue, looking to pick her up. Shots coming into the side of the heads. Skye chucking Ruby down. I would like to take the time to thank Ruby and the cameraman, says Corvids. 30 minutes left. We still have Nick Wayne and the partners announcement. This is going to be cram, said Mitchell. Okay, we got Skye Blue going over to the corner. Skye Blue climbing up. And against the ropes goes Ruby. Kick coming in. Nice kick. Skye Blue goes down. 1, 2, 3. Ruby does it. Ruby picks up the win. So Ruby is going to go through to the final. We should find out who she's going to be facing. She is going to face either Athena or Willow Nightingale. So either Athena or Willow Nightingale against Ruby Soho. That's not bad, is it? In all fairness. I like all of them. I like Ruby. I like Willow. I like Athena. I like them all. I don't care who wins. I like them all. So they're just giving us a recap right now of Collision. I know this won't happen for all sorts of reasons, but for SummerSlam, I would love Ricochet against JD McDonough, LA Knight against Randy Orton, Johnny Gargano against AJ Styles, and Pretty Deadly versus Imperium, says Jam Dub. Hello 23 said, why did Blue lose? She needs a run. Jim's upset that Skye Blue lost as well. Kashawn said, it kind of sucks that we can't see Miro when he's on Collision. because I feel like he would have been perfect guy to dethrone Orange Cassidy for his international championship. Big Time said AEW is in a position where you are limited to using Punk on Dynamite, which is a blow, but you're handicapped because you need to keep Collision sustainable. That's true. If you want to see Punk, Collision's where you go. Jay White and Juice Robinson, Bullet Club Gold, are going to be taking on FTR, Ricky Starks against CM Punk. Nick Wayne is making his AEW debut, so he hasn't actually competed before. This guy hasn't competed before in AEW. I thought he'd been doing stuff like on Rampage or something. So, Swerve versus Nick Wayne coming up. Right. Do you think LA Knight should dethrone Austin Theory for his United States Championship at SummerSlam? I don't know. It's a good question. It's a good question. I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, well, LA Knight, I know he's got a lot of crowd support, but he hasn't done anything. We haven't seen him in feuds. Like, he just hasn't been feuding with anyone. So, I sort of feel like he wasn't on TV on Friday. So, I just feel like he needs to get into a feud with someone. So, part of me thinks, like, is it a bit soon to... I mean, he's had one meaningful feud with Bray. So, like, to put him in a feud for the title now, like, is that too soon? But, like, he is... I mean, it's undeniable the crowd support he's got, right? So, I was like, well, I suppose you could do it. You could... I mean, why not? You could do it. I mean, people would like to see it, so you could do it, right? But then what do you do with Austin Theory? Because Austin Theory is clearly not going to drop the title and replace Roman. So, you know, do you then just have a bit of a problem where Austin Theory is just bobbing around, not doing anything? Don't know. I think with LA Knight, people just want to see him. Just want to see him. And just get him out there in a feud. Like, you know, use him. Get going with him. I don't know that necessarily... People would want him to win a title, but I don't think he has to win a title. I think if he was... To be honest, if he just had a match at SummerSlam, people would be happy. Because this guy didn't have a match at WrestleMania, didn't have a match at Backlash, didn't have a match at Night of Champions. He has just not been in their plans. So I think if he just has a match at SummerSlam, people would be satisfied. And honestly, I think Austin Theory against Sheamus could be a really good match. And I think what Theory needs right now is he needs a good matches. I mean, the John Cena match didn't do it. His little back and forth with Bobby Lashley didn't do it. Like, we've done a few things with Theory that just have not resulted in, like, what he's needed. What he needs is banging matches. He needs people to go, wow, yeah, that guy's got something about him. So, you could do it. But I think equally you could also just give LA Knight a match and do, say, Sheamus and Austin Theory. What's this? What the hell's this? I don't know what this is. This QTV woman is just doing stuff. Right. If ever you start, listen, right, and you're not the Acclaimed, I'm out. She's like, she's rapping, and she is just in a house. This apparently is a world premiere of something which I didn't even know was coming. Well, I suppose, even SmackDown had maximum male models. Here's Swerve. Is Swerve making his way down to the ring then? I really want to see this Nick Wayne guy. She's better than Hit Row, says to heel. That's a low bar, in it, mate. Okay, Swerve has made his way down. This isn't our main event, but I suppose it is our final match. Tony Shed said this is one hell of a debut. Here is Nick Wayne. Darby coming out with him. 18-year-old pro wrestling prodigy. Darby saying a few words to Nick Wayne, who makes his way down to the ring. Takes a sec just to look at the crowd, and I'm guessing that's his mom, is it? They're giving him a big entrance. So he's made his way down. I think he's looking up at his dad, maybe? Just threw up a bit of a dub. Looked up at the sky, took a moment. Smile on the face of Swerve. Swerve against Nick Wayne then. These two locking up. Back against the ropes in the corner. Aubrey, referee for this one, coming in, separating them. As Swerve pats him on the face. Nice reversal. Goes for a chop. Gives him some pats back. Headlock against the ropes. Still keeping, no, away from the headlock. Roll over. Swerve. Looking for the pin. Wayne kicks out. Back in the corner goes Swerve. Wayne against the ropes. Over the top goes Swerve. Wayne goes over. Down on the ground still as Swerve. Wayne goes up, middle rope. Kicks Swerve away. Rolls through. No, over the top. Moves out the way. Big boot. I mean, so fast-paced. Lots of kicks, but Swerve gets out the way. Swerve looking a little bit frustrated. He's tried to pin down Nick Wayne, but he couldn't quite do it. Big boot coming in as Wayne goes against the ropes. Over the other side. Head scissor takeover. Nice back elbow. Kip up. Yeah, looking good. Looking out at the crowds. Flips over. Lands on his feet. Nice. Suplex. Kick out. If you look at the players we've been linked to, who do you want United to sign? I think we go for Pickford and let Henderson go the other way. I like Osserman. Don't think Anana's apparently signing, so I don't think we'll get Pickfords. And Osserman, apparently, I heard that we've been told is too much for us. He's out of our league. So I think we'll end up getting that. Hodgland. Swerve has got Nick Wayne up on his shoulders. Nice head scissor to the outside by Nick Wayne. Picture in picture for this one. We've seen this a million times from people we know and like, why am I supposed to care about this skinny child doing it, says NH. I think, to be honest, like, I think for an 18-year-old, he is good. I mean, you can tell he's been doing this a long time. He's very comfortable and confident. He's going for big moves. I don't think everything's looked as crisp, but this is his debut. I mean, like 18 years old on Dynamite, even just performing in front of this amount of people. I mean, the nerves must be very, very real. You know, they must be very real. And even though I don't think there's been much that's made you go, wow, I think considering he's 18, do you know, I was actually looking at him and I was thinking, I could see this guy being in the Rockers. He's young. He's got like a baby face. He's got that heart that's split on his backside. It's a very like Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. And even his ring gear is kind of quite bright. A lot of wrestlers just have black ring gear. His is purple. And I was looking at him thinking like, yeah, reminds me a bit of like a young, fresh-faced Shawn, fresh-faced Marty when they were in the Rockers. I wouldn't be judging him really by too much here, other than he's confident, he's competent, he's going for big stuff. Maybe not everything's looking amazing, but hey man, fast forward 5 years, you'll still only be 23. And if he's going to have had 5 years of big experience in front of big crowds like this, and he's going to be 23 years old. He's getting chucked back into the ring. Swerve going in after him. I remember talking to someone, actually. I went to Fight Club Pro, and I was talking to some people came over to say hello. I think they'd recognized me from some toy hunts. And they came over and they was chatting away. And this one girl said that she was training at Fight Club Pro. And she was like, do you know one of the first things they teach you now are hurricanranas? I was like, no, I didn't know that. She was like, yeah, that's like clotheslines, drop kicks, hurricanranas is what they were learning. So it's a different world now, isn't it? A lot of this like aerial, high-flying stuff is kind of, certainly at Fight Club Pro, from what I was told, taught to them right from the beginning. I think probably to get them comfortable with doing it, you know? I mean, I can't say it's lesson number one, but she was saying that she had already started doing all of that stuff. She hadn't been doing it long. Shot coming in, forearm strike. He's had 9 years of training, though, isn't he? He said he started when he was 9. Drop kick. He does gesture out to the crowd quite nicely. He doesn't ignore the fans. It's not like he just is stuck in his own world doing his moves. He will like gesture out to the crowd every now and again and involve them and bring them in. Oh, nice stunner, but sadly caught. Nice. 1, 2. Shoulder up by Swerve. Coach Co said at the end of the rap, she just started rapping Eminem lyrics. I switched off, but I switched off. James said, if the fifth person is not Ibushi, I'm going to be peed off. Nick Wayne going over, getting a chant. Oh, jumps back, gets caught on the shoulders of Swerve. Off. 1, 2. Shoulder up there by Nick Wayne. August 27th, Wembley, all in, baby. Swerve will probably win this one since he lost the last one against him. Twig said, Nick is too green. Shake my head. Hype train. Nick Wayne is up in the corner. Fans are behind the youngster. Here's Darby. Darby's come out to cheer Nick Wayne on. Swerve is on that second rope. He's trying to jump over. They're setting up for a big move. Reverse Rana off the top. Stunner, nice. Did that well. 1, 2, 3. Oh, foot on the rope, man. Foot on the rope. I didn't know why she didn't count then. Camera angle wasn't the best. But he got his foot on the rope. That was good. That was really good. Reverse Hurricanrana. I love the stunner more. I love the stunner. I think the stunner was excellent. Wayne is up top. Oh, power bomb by Swerve. And kick to the side of the head. Nick Wayne goes down. 1, 2. Shoulder up. Shoulder up. Damn, man, that was a monster powerbomb from the top, wasn't it? That was a monster powerbomb from the top. Swerve grabbing Nick Wayne. Crowd are chanting, this is awesome. Oh, arm being bent back by Swerve. Nick Wayne, look at the selling by Nick Wayne. Swerve picking up Nick Wayne. Drives him down 2, 3, and gets the win. Swerve should have won. The kid's 18 and he's only just arrived. Swerve is Swerve. So Swerve, I've got no problem with Swerve winning. I think there's some nice moments in there. And considering what they said, he turned 18 on Monday or something. So, you know. Swerve goes over to his mom. Yeah, no, that was all right. That was all right. Darby, Mogul, Embassy rivalry continues, said Chris. No way should the kid have kicked out of that powerbomb, said the Beach Kevin. I thought Nick was winning, says Jim. Right, we're going to find out who is the 5th person. Do we find out the 5th person of both teams tonight, or? Do I have the thing? Is it that? Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite reveal their 5th man for Blood and Guts. So we should get both. Who is the 5th man? Naturally Limitless against Daddy Magic and Cool Hand Luke. So Excalibur's doing his 2 out of 3 falls match. Apparently that tag match on Collision. CM Punk, Ricky Starks. That'd be good. Oh, that's the final. Didn't know that. Luchasaurus against Short. Battle of the Belts. Huh? They're still doing that. See, so you got what? Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, Battle of the Belts, Blood and Guts next week. Are we not going to find out the Elite's fifth man? Callis is coming down to reveal this one. Callis making his way down to, maybe it's Hogan. Here is Don Callis. Let's see what it's going to say. I've got something to say, says Don. He's very excited about his announcement. What if it's Kota? Or Don? No one more deserving. You all love him, but I know the real Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega is a coward. Here is Kenny. Kenny coming out. They're still doing Battle of the Belts as a make good for moving Dynamite from TNT to TBS, says Brenton. Kenny's, who are these? Is that Moxley? Oh, yeah. Didn't even see them. Pac with the chair. Pac is back. Oh, I forgot about Pac. Completely forgot that he was a thing. When did we last see Pac? I remember Death Triangle Elite around Christmas time. I don't think I've seen him since then. Might have been like 7 months. Well, it's going to be a bit awkward if he's not the fifth man in it. It's going to be a little bit awkward. Thanks for your help, Pac. Here's Chris Hero. Don kicks Kenny. It's a stroke of genius if it's true. Pac has been gone since the international title. Packer's the fifth man. Yes, please, said Corvids. You have no idea how long I've waited for this. Look at me, Kenny. I'm the fifth member, and now you pay the price. So, Pac is the fifth member. So, there's a chair over the... We have a fifth member too. Check the screen. Check the screen. He's coming. It's got to be Kota. Kota. Kota Ibushi is shown on screen. He will be the 5th member of Kenny's team. The Golden Elite. Sadly, is not here now, though, by the looks of it. So it is going to be Kota Ibushi. So it's turned out to be Pac and Kota Ibushi are the 2 5th members of Blood and Guts. The Golden Elite. Golden Lovers back. That will be awesome, says Loopy Girl. I mean, honestly, I would have been shocked if it was anyone else. If it was anyone other than Kota Ibushi, I would have been surprised. Doesn't mean it's not exciting, though. To my knowledge, we've never seen him in AEW. This is about heart, passion, friendship, soul, and love. It's a lot to put on a wrestling match. Next week, when there's 2 rings and 2 cages, you will find out the hard way. Don. Kenny said, when all 5 of you are down and all 5 of you are out, Don, that's when I'm coming for you. Goodbye. Good night, bang. Don't normally see that on TV. Normally get that in the bit afterwards, but there we go. Kota Ibushi and Pac are the 2 5th members. Moxley just shouting at the camera. Right, getting your scores. What did you think about it? Let's get people's scores as this episode is wrapping up. I do have a... Ooh. There's a lot of shouting. I'm being shouted at by John Moxley. I'm being shouted at by Kenny. I'm being shouted at by Excalibur. Yes, there is a video that's premiering on the channel in 10 minutes, which is just a little 2-minute recap of SummerSlam 89. I think it's a fun video as well. So check that out. Oh, hello. Bit of bonus. No, go on. Kenny just picked up the mic, started talking again, and they've cut it. Why do they do that? Why can't they just give us people that subscribe on Fight just that little bit more, eh? Just that little bit more. It was a fun show, said let him in. Elijah said, not a surprise, we knew it was going to happen. Mm-hmm. Everyone's saying no story. Well, here you go. Lots of stories, says LT. Yeah, and I would say that a better episode as a result. I would not say this is what we've been getting. I'd say this feels different than what we've had, but I actually think this was a pretty strong episode. A decent show, said AB Jobson. 8. Blood and Guts should be good, said Hello 23. Lance said second half was great. Jericho Komander sucked. Loopy Girl says 8. Corey said it was better than Raw. Brenton said, don't know if you caught it, but there was a couple of missed bleeps in Moxley's yelling. Missed bleeps, an F-bomb, and I think a B words. It's all right. I'm not shocked by those things. James said, James shouts you. Every match has a picture-in-picture. AEW is 50% commercials. AEW is minor league, says Carlos. You know, I would say there's a lot of commercials in WWE as well, in all fairness. We certainly don't struggle for commercial time in 3-hour Raw. I hope AEW doesn't lose partnership with New Japan because Kota as New Japan don't like Kota. Fine. They'll be all right. I think this relationship works for New Japan. I think it works for AEW. I think it works for a lot of people, to be honest. So don't think they're going to throw that away just because they've gone and picked up Kota Ibushi. Elk Sean, shout out to you. 52 Games Podcast said this was a young blood AEW and it was still good. All the young cats wrestled and didn't even notice. It's actually pretty amazing. Am I crazy or did they announce Kota completely overshadowed Pac's return? Yeah, it probably yeah. Maybe you could have done it a different way where like Pac came back at the start and then we did the Elite announcement later. The only thing is either way, I think a lot of people are going to be talking about Kota Ibushi by the end of this program. But I suppose you could have given Pac coming back a bit of time to have breathed. Maybe you could have done that at the halfway point and then maybe done the Elite responding like, you know, at the end of the show. Maybe you could have done that. But I think either way, the big talking point, what I would be taken away from this is, oh my God, Kota. I feel like Pac, you know, we saw him about 7 months ago, which is, you know, it's been a while. It's been a hot minute. But I feel like Kota Ibushi is the more exciting news. If AEW is 50% commercials, then WWE is 90%. Kota and New Japan supposedly mended their relationship, says Brenton. Big Time said, honestly, I'm at a 7 out of 10, only because MJF and Cole was fun and the main event angle was good. Why didn't they just announce Ibushi next week, said Hagendaz. Well, I suppose next week people are going to tune in for that match. Blood and Guts is 2 rings. It's you know, to all intents and purposes, it is War Games. Because I think even when people get in, they stagger people getting in, don't they? It's not like everyone just starts off in the ring. That should be enough to get people to tune in next week. So this week, you was going to get your ratings by, we're going to reveal who the 5th men are this week. That's how you get your ratings this week. Next week, Blood and Guts should be enough to get the ratings. So they had put on the graphic that this week they were going to announce both teams' 5th members. What you might have been able to have done is last week announced the Blackpool Combat Club's 5th member, and then this week announced the Elite's 5th member, and then you would have got 2 weeks out of that. But they didn't feel like they needed to do that. They've done both this week, and then as we said, next week Blood and Guts should get the rating for them. Justin said, I switched channels to the soccer game. I missed the last 10 minutes. Legend Killer, shout out to you. I appreciate the kind words. Paulie said, thanks for the stream. Thanks once again. No worries, man. Appreciate the support. Shocked it was Pac in all honesty, says Joel. Daniel Garcia's dance was the best part of the show, said Lance. I know it's next week. I'm saying Pac could have had his moment and Ibushi could have been a surprise next week since he wasn't even there, says Hagendaz. Yeah, but what I was saying was that the reason why they've not done that is because the reason they got people to tune in this week was because they were going to tell you both of the 5th members. If you had done just the one and that one was Pac, it might have disappointed a few people. Some of the names that were doing the rounds was like Chris Hero, who's not on the roster. And there was a few other like thoughts as to people that might have been brought in. I think Pac is fine, but I don't know that it's like all that exciting. It's a nice little moment in a show. Like, oh, Pac's back. You know, he's been away 7 months. I don't know if that was the only thing you had, if that would be satisfactory. It might have a little bit of that kind of Tony Khan announcement vibe, where some of the announcements were not very satisfying. I sort of feel like Pac, I don't know. You could have done it. You could have had Pac announcement be the only thing this week, but I think it might have just been a little unsatisfying. I feel like the Kota one is bigger, and I can understand why they've done both in the same week. Or, as I said, do Pac's last week, right, and then do Kota's this week, because Kota's is more exciting, and I think that would be better to have an exciting announcement leading into Blood and Guts next week. I just don't think you need to do Kota reveal and the Blood and Guts match in the same week. I think you don't need to do all of that. Plus also, people may tune in next week now because they want to see Kota Ibushi. If you didn't announce him until on the actual show, then obviously people wouldn't talk all week about Kota Ibushi. Kota Ibushi now amongst AEW fans, I would imagine, is going to be the topic of conversation for the next week. So I think definitely announcing Kota this week was the right thing. My question would be, should you have announced Pac either earlier in the show to have given him a bit more breathing space? Because I agree, we did bring Pac back and then immediately bury it, right? I agree with that. So should you have done Pac a little earlier? Or potentially should you have even have done it last week and just given him his own bit of space? Maybe not made a massive deal out of it. As I said, I don't think it's humongous news. But the Kota Ibushi one, I think, was pretty big. Announcement would have been more effective if Ibushi was just there, says Hagen-Dazs. I'm glad it's Ibushi. I'm psyched about that part. Brenton said, Pat might be gone again until All In after Blood and Guts, from what I remember reading. Right, let's have a look at the poll, because I need to shoot, because there is that SummerSlam 89 video that's premiering, which, if that works, I could look to premiere a little thing after AEW every week. But here is our scores. So 7-775, 42%, 8-10, 37%, 5-7-5 or below, 13%, 6-675, 6%. So it seems like people really enjoyed it, with at least 79% scoring it 7 or above. Right, I am off. Thanks for watching. That premiere is premiering right now. I'm going to jump in there, actually. So thanks a lot for joining us. Appreciate it as always. We're back for SmackDown, and I will